Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known, or actually during the midday. That is your boy Joey Dang Options. I'm Sharif, and let's see how many people we got. Okay, we got a couple people. We got Darwin, we got Ezekiel Lapera, and Darth Buddha. Shout out to them as well. Greg Moore, Racer X9, and Paul Goodson. Donkey Trader. We got Daniel Vargas in Pillsbury, Jimmy Jane, the Piper, 605, I guess, V maybe, Jonathan Mancella, Phil Rich, Rock Doc, as well as Vicky Novak, one of the OGs there, BGZ, Max. We got Matthew Cabral as well, Joseph, with Random Oddities, Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo. Who else we got here? Roving One, Bright Awakening as opposed to Dark Awakening, you know. Sam L, we got Bob the Builder. Oh,
Haley in the house.
Bob? Is that you from Home Improvement? Shout out to Fox. Yeah, I know. Who else we got? We got Diggity Risk, Ralph Woodward, KZ. Hola. Hola to you too, my man. We got Ella and Idris, Northwest Sasquatch, as opposed to the Northwest Yeti. Being kind of both the same. Bigfoot.
Are they cousins?
I think so. One is like Asian, one's North American. I'm assuming. I don't know, Joseph. He's too hard. We got Trader, we got Dante. Shout out to Mr. Thumbs Up. Everything good on my side. Good morning, my man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. You know, I was just thinking in my head, looking at myself in the camera here. I think your boy needs a haircut. So yeah, let me get this.
I don't know, man. I kind of like the longer look a little bit.
What do you mop dealed with?
Mop?
Yeah.
I don't know about that, bro.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's dwindling up there, so it's
yeah, you keep saying that, but it really isn't.
Bro, I don't know, man. I would say otherwise, but I mean, guys, we got a little bit of a mixed day. Yeah, we got a mixed day here, Sharif. I know you got a lesson, so let's just talk about what's going on this far. I mean, from a top-performing sector standpoint, we got energy at the top of its class, XLE, only up about 0.3% here, and then we got utilities sitting in second. About 0.1%, and then XLV Healthcare up about 0.3 as well, or down about 0.3. So we only got two green sectors so far. We know that the employment rate came out as well this morning too. So as well as non-farm payrolls, sending the market down. And I heard Brando say we're back kind of in that sentiment where good news is bad news, and we talked about this before. So. Just hovering around that, the market rejecting the volume-weighted average price, the SPY and the Qs, that is, and now heading back south of VWAP. So yeah, let's see what we got going on for this session. The volatility stepping in, the VIX stepped up as well too today.
Yeah, it did,
guys. So that's what we need here in the world of day trading is more.
That's the only thing, and we're going to have 4 years of Twitter-induced or X-induced volatility, thanks to your boy.
We like the retruths, man.
Yeah, retruths. I had to re-download that because I downloaded it originally, then removed it because nobody was using it. Now he's on it all the time. He's making it a point. I'm talking about Donald Trump to post on True Social, not on X, and then everybody takes his posts on True Social and then throws it back on X. In fact, an account called Donald Trump's posts on Truth, and then it's like an entirely verified account. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's get to this trade right here before we start on the lesson du jour. DATS, small cap gapper extraordinaire here, up 73%. We've had a symphony of prints on this one. Initially in at 485, best print I have right now, 570, but I'm waiting at 588 because I want to hit that dollar banger. Here we go, 575 again. I'm lamenting not having added at 5 1/3. There was a clear area of previous resistance, should have acted as support this time. So this one's really going, guys. It's the best looker right now in small cap gapper world, and there isn't too much today to trade in small cap gapper world, in my humble submission, because we don't even have a triple digit winner. This number one, DATS, excuse me, is the number one gapper right now, up 72% since 4 a.m., 51% since that dang bell rung. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. I've got one more out. So either I get stopped out at 485 because I've moved my stop into my entry, or I get the print at 588. Let's see which one comes first, because I'm not taking it out anywhere south of that. So let's continue to watch these ones. I'll get to the lesson in a second, but I just want to show you, these are the small cap gappers. I'm watching top left-hand corner, obviously the one I'm involved in right now, DATS. But AMPX is a looker. right now as well. I mean, it comes into that 390 area of previous support, holds up there. We weasel back into 4. It's not a big mover like DATS is giving you dollars. This one's more like giving you 20 pennies or so. Let's see how that one ends up panning out. I've got Hoth. We traded Hoth well earlier in the week, so keep an eye on that. And then QBTS, the big boys there on the morning show, we're letting you know that this one was retracing off the high 6 3/4 on a QBTS. But let me tell you, it's an inside day in a technical sense on QBTS with 680 the high from the previous day and 465 the low. So we're kind of in no man's land right now on this quantum name. It is up 2.87%, nothing really to write home about, but we're going to keep an eye on that. It's definitely on the side chart and will be traded if it warrants a trade. So let's get right now to the lesson du jour, baby. We're talking about these triple tops. We're talking about these triple bottoms. They don't occur all that often. So, you know, the lesson here, you may not be using it all that often, but it behooves us to know about it. So let's get right to it. In this lesson, which again is based on John J. Murphy's book, Technical Analysis of These Dang Financial Markets, we will discuss triple tops and bottoms, which is a key reversal pattern. Like we've been talking, all these patterns we've been talking about the last week and a half, they're all reversal patterns, okay? In technical analysis that signal significant market shifts. So similar to the double tops and the double bottoms, the counterparts of these these patterns occur after a trend has already been established. We'll get to that in a second, but it behooves us always to look at the trend that precedes the pattern formation, okay? And then we will also expand on the content as provided by your boy John Jay in his book and complement it with insights from the CMT materials, which nicely I have access to thanks to your boy Nosboss over there. The Charter Market Technician exam materials will add a little bit of color into this lesson. So let's get right to it as we always do. Oh, I got stopped out or did I get the print? Oh, I got the print, boy! There we go. We're going to hit that dollar club. Okay, there we go. I thought I got stopped out, but there is. DATS is going, guys. It's going to take out 6. It's about to take out 6. There's a seller of note at 6 over here. It's up 86%. There goes 6. So we'll, you know, obviously trade this with caution because it is getting a little extended. If it's still tradable after we're done the lesson, you can bet your bottom dollar I will be getting back into it. So the structure and the characteristics of these triple tops. Let's start with that. The triple top, you get 3 distinct peaks all around or near the same price level. They don't have to be exact, okay? It occurs after a bullish uptrend. So we have to look at the trend preceding the triple top. Was it higher highs and higher lows? It has to be. Otherwise, the triple top may just be negligible. It might be just any, you know, just random pattern showing up on the chart. The breakdown of the triple top occurs when the price falls below the support level established by the lowest point between the peaks. So this is going to have 2 troughs. So unlike your double top, which has 1 trough, or your triple bottoms, which has 1 crest, this one's going to have 2. So you're looking at the break of the lower of the 2, the lower crest or the lower trough of the 2. This is kind of what it looks like. Top 1, top 2, and you can see here top 3 doesn't quite make it up to the level of top 1 or 2. What are you laughing at? What's going on?
Bro, one of the comments in the chat.
What?
I'm not even going to read it, man. It's wild. I'll
just read it.
Bro, it says, Sharif, you drop it hot. Joe, you feel nice enough? I'd let you date my sister. Kill it. Print it. I
don't know what to say to that. What do you say to that? I don't know.
I
don't know what you say to that.
I don't know, man.
I love the chat. Undefeated.
I don't even
Undefeated.
know what that means, but I appreciate that.
All right, let's get back to the lesson. Thank you for letting us know. That was a good chuckle, bro. All right, so the triple bottoms, kind of the same thing. Here, the structure of the triple bottoms, you get 3 distinct troughs all at or around the same price. And they occur again after a bearish downtrend. So we need to look at the trend that preceded the triple bottom. Did we have lower lows and lower highs? We need to for the trend, for the pattern to be accurate, okay? And then the breakout on the triple bottom occurs when the price rises above the resistance set by the highest points in between the troughs. This is what we're looking at. Bottom 1, bottom 2, bottom 3. I would submit to you the first area trough is higher than the second area trough, so you're weaseling in as a long on the break, a closing print above this break over here. I don't care if it wicks, bro. It's got to close above there. I want to see that money committed after 4 p.m. That's when I get interested. So keep your eye on the closing print as opposed to a wick. Don't be hasty into the trade. The psychology behind the pattern is also really important, right? So similar to other reversal patterns, like those, head and shoulders, rounded bottoms, triple tops and bottoms, or double tops and bottoms, the triple tops and the triple bottoms reflect the psychological battle between bulls and bears. So in the triple top, buyers have attempted multiple times to push the price beyond resistance, but the sellers continue to hold firm, leading to price stagnation. When the third attempt fails on the triple top, it often signals that buyers are starting to lose strength and a bearish reversal is likely imminent. The converse, or the opposite, is true for the triple bottoms. Sellers try to push the price lower 3 times, but fail to break it through support. When buyers successfully push the price above the resistance, so above that key area crest, it reflects a shift in the market control towards the bulls, okay? Which is kind of what I like. All right, so how do you confirm or validate the trend? Let's talk a little bit about the methodology here. So both patterns require confirmation through a decisive break of either support or resistance, okay? Often accompanied by, as Joe would love to hear, increased volume, okay? This is the key in distinguishing valid breakouts and breakdowns from false ones. So let's talk a little bit about that. Volume confirmation, super important. The CMT materials here really stress the importance of volume as a confirming factor. A breakout that occurs with significant volume, I'll submit to you, is more likely to indicate a true reversal, whereas a breakout or breakdown, again on low volume, may indicate a false signal. And there's also a time frame consideration here we need to take into account. So for longer term triple tops and triple bottoms, these are considered more reliable. And we've talked about this with respect to other patterns. There is 2 aspects to measuring the pattern. There is the length, the height, which measures price, and there is the width, which measures time. The longer a pattern has formed, over the longer period, I should say, the pattern has formed on, the more reliable the pattern becomes. So just to basically kind of surmise that, longer term triple tops and triple bottoms are considered more reliable. For instance, patterns forming over several months are typically stronger than those that appear over a shorter time period, such as just a few weeks, okay? And this is kind of what we're talking about over here. You're weaseling along your merry way, you get your triple bottom, and then you get the big boy break. And it's submitting to you to take profits here. I would disagree with that. I would basically use, a trailing stop. Percentage-based trailing stop, or one based on ATR to account for that. I wouldn't necessarily just take profits at a random area. And let's talk about the measuring implications. Just kind of got to that. I briefly glossed over that. So once a breakout occurs, you've broken above the area crest, the highest area crest on a triple bottom, or you've broken down below the lowest area trough on the triple top. Once that breakout or breakdown occurs, traders often use the height of the pattern, measured from the highest peak to the lowest trough. Super easy there to kind of measure, to estimate the expected move. This height is then projected from the breakout area or the breakdown area to the point to establish a price target. So for example, in a triple top, you subtract the height from the breakout, which is a support level, to calculate the potential downside target. The opposite is true in the triple bottom, where you add the height to the breakout point, which is the resistance level, to estimate the upside target. There it is. You measure from over here. Basically, they're all equidistant in terms of these area crests. You measure from here to there, and then you just project that up from the breakout area, and then you're wetting your beak over here. But I would just take initial profits here. I wouldn't take everything out. Hey, let's talk about some of the, actually, we're going to pause a little bit here, and then we're going to talk soon about the practical applications to trading this pattern. We'll talk about the trade entry, your stop loss placement, volume analysis, price targets, and the much maligned false breakouts, who I hate very much. Joseph.
Yeah, false breakouts. Those are absolutely frustrating because they just turn into liquidity grabs at the end of the day. And we had that scenario kind of happen to us, I think, a couple of days ago. I forget on the ticker, but it looked like, oh, it was the Qs. So it looked like we were going to break up, broke through some key resistance levels. That volume did step in, but sure enough, it was just a liquidity grab so that we can continue to the southeast there. But as of right now, guys, punched in and out of some IBIT. Let's see if we can continue to move higher. Kyle Burdett and I were talking earlier in the chat just about some puts. And I said, you know what, dude, your thesis may not be wrong, but when you start selling, or when you start buying puts with only a week or two until expiration, I don't think that gives enough time for your thesis to play out. And Kyle's like, yeah, I think I agree with that. So it's just always worth it to buy more time, even though, yeah, you're paying less money, but you need that thesis to play out extremely rapidly and quick, because within the last week, until the expiration, until that cycle ends, theta just picks up steam and it'll just diminish and chew up the value of those contracts. So just through experience and time, it was always better for me. I realized that to just pay for more time, right? Because then you can still have the ability to use that leverage aspect of the options, but the time decay isn't going to diminish your thesis. Like you could be correct, and we all know that timing is one of the hardest things to acquire. Like having consistent timing and being accurate is one of the hardest things to do in the market. But again, if you don't give yourself enough time for those theses to play out, then it doesn't mean anything essentially. So always more time, pay for more time. I was looking at some IBIT leaps, Kyle, and again, for something that is expiring 2 years out, it costs half the amount still. So again, you're still getting that value, but you're also giving yourself, you're still getting that ability to leverage your positions, but you're also giving yourself enough time for that trade to work out, right? Because that's the killer of options is time decay, all right? So yeah, just give you, LIV just sell options is great. In times of this market, which is going to lead to my next part, you don't want to be selling options with the increase in volatility. You want to wait until volatility is essentially peaked and then back on the way down, because you can get squeezed when you're writing options, right? So this is going to lead on to my next point here, Sharif, is this inverse correlation in between the VIX and the overall market here, such as the Qs. So just look at this from a daily perspective. So this is what we refer to as the volatility index or the fear index. And when we start to sell and have bearish sentiment in the market, the VIX will start to pick up. And you can see what day this is without even having to look it up. This is the FOMC day right here, guys. And what happens as we sell? The VIX picks up steam and goes up over 80% in the session, all right? So yeah, at that point, when it's peaked, because that's an anomaly, that doesn't happen too often, there is when you want to start writing and selling options. I like that thesis, all right? So now let's take a look at the Qs here, okay? So as you guys can see, let's just just mark this here, take a mental note from FOMC, that rate decision, that hawkish cut, take a look at the VIX, and now let's take a look at the Qs here from a daily perspective. So now you guys see that inverse correlation between the two. Market sells off, VIX goes up, all right? Market goes up, VIX goes down. Same thing, market goes down, VIX up, and etc. So here we are at the base of some support level here on the overall markets, and let's see what happens here. I think that we do break down, Kyle and I were talking to go back onto that Bitcoin point. I do think that we break that $92,000 mark. Sharif and I were talking about it. So I do think we're just kind of prolonging that to some aspect. A little bit of a liquidity grab, but again, just be patient and give yourself some time on those contracts, and make sure if you're an options writer that you're keeping an eye on the VIX. I'm going to hold on to this IBIT. If we break 53, let's see what the price is here. If we break 53.09, I'm at a dodge, and then we're going to reassess the situation. So yeah, other than that, what do you got going on there?
I just weaseled into AMPX. I got awfully close to the volume weighted average price. So I've gotten into it here. I'm only giving it 10 pennies worth of risk. And the reason is, number one, the small cap gappers are a little anemic today. Relatively speaking, of course, we're comparing to previous days, this past month, these past 2-3 months. They're not as aggressive today. They're not as strong. There's not as many, full stop. So what we need to do is we need to account for that variation and trade it accordingly. So I'm going to have to give these ones much tighter amount of room because I feel like that they may have the propensity to retrace and to give back today. So AMPX up 28%. Here are the details. That was very anticlimactic. I'm sorry. All right, $428 million market cap, so it's technically not a small cap gapper. It's traded about 5.7 million shares today with a float of 22.1 million shares. And let's bring down trade ideas and find out what the short float is. About 5%, could be as old as 2 weeks, that data point. So decent. Nothing really to write home about whether with respect to float or the short float. I'm in it because VWAP is at 377. I weaseled in at 88, so I'm going to give that one to a skosh below VWAP. AMPX, we're in it right now. Adara is at the green screen.
Green screen here is looking pretty red on this sector board. Lots of sectors to the downside, but one sector with a lot of sharply red names is going to be the technology services sector. So we're going to take a look at 3 tickers in that sector that are weak on the day with news catalysts, starting with Oracle. ORSL down almost 5% right now on Wednesday night here. So again, we had the market off on Thursday. Wednesday night, we do have a report from Bloomberg suggesting that ARM is looking to acquire Ampere Computing. Ampere Computing is actually a chip designer that has been backed by Oracle. So ARM, I guess, looking to step out Oracle's territory here. Oracle to the downside. Next up here we have Netflix. NFLX. I was mentioning here I couldn't find a catalyst on this name with that sharp drop off the open. They did actually have, double the WWE Raw numbers that we're seeing on USA Today. But Netflix actually had a massive insider sell. So one of its directors, Richard N. Barton, selling 96.3% of his Netflix shares, selling $5.6 million worth of NFLX. So looks like this director is not looking super bullish on NFLX. Last but not least here, CRM here, Salesforce. This looks like a bit of a case of buy the rumor, sell the news. We know there's a massive spike here when CRM initially kind of announced that they were going to be having this agent force, which is basically their AI sales assistants. Once this is actually launched, it looks like CRM is falling to the downside. So again, buy the rumor, sell the news for Salesforce here, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and participate in our various midday polls, guys.
Thank you very much, Adara.
What am I in?
And here is the poll. We almost have 1,000 votes. We've barely been live for half an hour. We have 999. There it is. We got 1,000. So let's see what we're voting on here. Oh, baby. We got some big hitters here, guys. And NVIDIA seems to get the love no matter who's on the board. NVIDIA, 57%. Calm down, chat. AMD. I thought you guys would be voting for AMD because it's getting shellacked. I thought you guys would be voting for Apple because it's getting shellacked. They're only barely in double digits here, 17%, 12%. And then your boy Netflix. Netflix is down 4% on the day, only getting 14% here. Hey, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just questioning it. That's all. But yeah, great contribution from you guys. Get your votes in. I'm seeing it.
Sorry, would you say Netflix was down?
4%. Oh. 3.91. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, it was 4% when I said it. Yeah. Right. SILO being yelled about here in the chat. Small cap gapper finding its way onto the scene. It doesn't impress me that much. It's a $1 name. It's done 2.2 million shares. That ain't going to cut it. So that doesn't mean that it's going to continue to do a low amount of shares. If the volume picks up, then we can get involved. It's a great looking chart pattern, though, but I'm not impressed with said volume. Closed out at $1.71 yesterday, which also happens to be that volume weighted average price. Let me throw the ticker on there so everyone can follow along. No, it is not a nuclear silo. Calm down. This company, what does this company do? A pharma. They're a developmental stage biopharma company focused on developing novel therapeutics. Shocking. Wow. They're trying to develop novel therapeutics as opposed to older ones, Joe. Because that seems to be a lot of business. Yeah, no, I'm being funny. You don't have to concentrate. Don't worry about it. SILO breaking through to 207. The 10 exponential has been very well respected here on the way up. On a closing basis, it did initially wick below and hit the 20. I like it possibly at this $1.85 over here to $1.80 because there's price action resistance in and around there. If that area doesn't hold, I'm looking for VWAP, but I won't be punching in at these highs. We're doing well here on AMPX. There we go again. So we're going to move up we're going to put another beak wetter here at 98. 8s to front run any size at 4. And quite frankly, we know there's size at 4. There's resistance at 4. I don't know if there's size. What happened over here was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1-minute candle rejection at that $4 area, and then we made a newer low. So that is a problem, obviously. So we're going to wet our beak right here. There it is. And now we're going to set up north of 4. So if this bad boy does want to break out 4, we'll have a resting order ready here on AMPX. So keep your eye out on this one. It does have resistance at 4, but it is up 30%, and there are not too many small cap gappers trading today, or trading all that well. And there you go, rejects right off 4. Kind of shocked. Zion Lala, shout out to you, my man. Zion was asking me, he's like, bro, why did you, how'd you control your emotions taking DATS? So a couple of reasons. I don't take big size on the show. That's just my modus operandi. Number 2, I have a very clear understanding of what we're doing with these small cap gappers. And I've mentioned this before. There is this informal method that I use, the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart, specifically for small cap gappers. When you get too far extended away from the 10 exponential on the 5 with these small cap gappers, almost always you have a pullback near, doesn't have to touch, near the 10 exponential, okay? So that's kind of what I was gauging there when I was involved in this. It was well above the 10 exponential, so I said it was time to take profits in and around this area. Doesn't mean that the trade is done. I do like this at around 5 2/3 to 5.5, given that we whiffled and waffled at that level. That's also the 10 exponential there, so it could find a bit of a bounce. It's up 82%. We'll keep an eye on this one. What do you got, Joseph?
Yeah, sorry, I was just working on some technical difficulties here. But we have a super chat here. And a great question as well, too.
I can take over while you fix all this.
I think we're okay here. Yeah, just give me one more. We'll send it off to Adara, and then we'll send it back to me because we got a super chat. So we'll.
AAPL. You might remember Ming-Chi Kuo. He is that Apple analyst here, supply chain analyst who mostly talks about Apple, saying as of right now that Apple may face, quote, more severe challenges in 2025. So a bit of a bearish note on Apple. Earlier today, he actually had a bit of a bearish note in Tesla as well, saying that their Q1 2025 production is likely to drop by around 5 to 10%. So Ming-Chi Kuo breaking in on Apple. Bit of a volume increase here to the downside for AAPL. New day's lows down about 4%, guys.
Oh, no. Thank you for that, Adara. Yeah, we got a $2 super chat, much appreciated from Stevenson. I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name there, but much appreciated. As always, Joe, is 110 a better level to buy AMD August options? Well, this is what I'm going to say about AMD right now. There is absolutely nothing, I wouldn't say positive going for this, but the overall sentiment for this stock is extremely weak, okay? We don't want to be trying to fight trends. We don't want to be trying to milk a stone or trying to anticipate any position that may work out. Let's wait until we get a couple positive catalysts under this stock's name and under this company's name in order for us to decide that, hey, we are now bullish on AMD. As of right now, there is no case to necessarily be bullish on that stock other than you get some value within the pricing. The PE is starting to come down, and I understand that as the price starts to depreciate. But if you really want that trade to work out for you using an options contract, wait for those catalysts to come in, wait for earnings. Let's see if we get any big reports or anything like that. And we know with, I guess, the best thing for the market or for this stock when you have those earnings report is surprise. So if we get any form of surprise with the upcoming earnings report or even before that, we will be able to identify that within the technicals of this stock. So again, I'm not looking to trade AMD. If you're looking to sell cash secured at 110, then by all means. But right now, just sit and wait. There's nothing to say, yeah, AMD's ready to turn around from a technical standpoint or even from a fundamental standpoint. I think waiting for that earnings report to come out is going to be extremely important. So being patient, waiting for those opportunities to arise are significantly better than just buying the contracts and then say in a couple of months it starts working. Totally fine. I mean, August gives you plenty of time, but then you're just going to throw away 2 months of time value waiting for this stock or anticipating for the stock to get some good news under it when it may not come when you're expecting it. So that's usually how the market works. You have a plan. You think something's going to happen, but it just outweighs you. It can wait longer than what you can wait for, especially using options contracts. So that's just my 2 cents. If you want to buy those 110 calls, by all means, go for it, but just make sure you put all those factors into play or I wouldn't say reconsider, but just consider what those ideas may affect that trade or that thesis. So yeah, that's my thought on AMD. Tried a couple stabs here on IBIT, folks. Going to continue to the south side. I know Kyle Burdett's in that one, so hopefully that's working out really well. Trading around $53 and heading south on IBIT. I do think that Bitcoin is going to break this $92,000 mark, as I mentioned before, just kind of prolonging that idea as we just hold onto these levels of support, Sharif. I don't know how many more times we can bang into this level. I don't know how many times we can test these levels without punching through. So who knows what's going to happen there. I think if we do break and continue to prolong that, then that selling to the downside might be slightly years.
All right, here we go. MSW, new small cap gapper, halted at 1058. Down it goes. 945. It will halt here if we have a few more seconds at this price. It could be a false halt. We've seen that in spades with these small cap gappers. And there it is, halted to the downside. Theoretical auction price, $9, halted $9.45. You will always see the tap on my screen with these small cap gappers right where I'm showing you there. See where it says TAP? Now you may need to zoom in, but that's the beautiful thing about having YouTube, baby. You can zoom in using your fingers. 850 now. Oh, baby. This is going to break down big boy here. MSW, it was, these ones are around for a good time, guys. They're not around for a long time, so trade them and trade them carefully. I'm very interested here on SILO to weasel in. This is price action resistance, and this is where we held up. Coincidence? No. Not that I believe. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get in. And we're going to get in. We got in at 88s. What did I do on AMPX? Why am I short? I'm not short AMPX. Guys, the position board is wrong. Yeah, it said, sorry, thank you. It said I was short AMPX. I'm certainly not. So anyway, we're long here. SILO. I'm long at 88s. Here we go. We're going to set up at 93 for the first beak wetter and then set up at 98s. So we're going to look for the bounce. So again, the only reason I'm into this is price action resistance right at that 945 candle. We end up, obviously rejecting it, work our way right back up. So we hold up at this level, generally this $1.84, $1.85. There we go, first print. Let's see if we can get 98s. 97s now on the dang ask. We need to cross over 98s for me to get printed. Likely to have some resistance with that $2 area with SILO. So pack your patience there with this one. 1 penny spread for now. I've seen it wider. Up 14%. Not the biggest mover, guys, but definitely behooves us to trade whatever is available to trade on the day. Again, 98s now showing up on the ask. And there we go. Am I going to get filled, bro? No, wow, 5 penny spread now. That's why. It was a 1 penny spread. No, Adara, not with these small cap gappers. I love when she gets excited when she hears spread, but not in this case. Yeah, that is fair. 98s now on the ask. 94s on the bid. It was 1 penny. Now it's full. There we go. Now we get the print. Good, good, good. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Now, AMPX, a bit of a problem. So we talked about that $4 being an area of resistance given what it did over here at around 11 o'clock. And that's why I took the print at 4. We haven't gotten anything above 4 for a hot minute. I'm waiting at 403s or whatever. Shout out to the highway. No, seriously though. So we'll see. We'll see if we get printed on this one. I've already moved up my stop to this area trough. So if it doesn't hold this 380 area, we're Gonzino. We're in at 88, so we'll have to risk a little bit there. Joseph, what do you got?
Okay, yes, sir. I mean, just sitting here in some of this IBIT long, we don't got too much size on it, next to nothing really. To see if we can start to recover. From a daily standpoint, not looking the best, but that's okay. Let's take a look at MSTR. A lot of people in the chat want to talk about MicroStrategy. So let's talk a little Michael Saylor here. Yeah, let's see what's going on from a daily perspective. I mean, we're quite off those all-time highs. That was tight, squeezy type price action, right? So about just under 40% off those all-time highs on Michael Saylor, and continuing to move south side with the overall market. Again, I don't have too much to say about this. Everybody knows his game plan. Everybody knows that it's in his thesis and business venture or business plan to just acquire as much Bitcoin as possible. As we just hover around in this $90,000 area on Bitcoin, I expect to see the same type of price action within MicroStrategy. So as we go and test those lows and the overall market is continuing to sell, I don't think it's any time to buy. I mean, you can buy the dips on it, but just if you're looking to allocate a position and start a position on this, don't just go full throttle here. Look to break that up a little bit, okay? So you get 10% here, 20% here, 30% there. So you're kind of averaging into that if you have a long-term plan on MicroStrategy, but just don't go all in at once, because if there's more downside, then your average isn't going to be that good, and there's not much you can do about it other than just realize the loss and then look to restart that position. So yeah, that's the look on MicroStrategy. I think as Bitcoin starts to appreciate, MSTR will start to recover anyways, but we broke through some key levels, and you can see that volatility really start to kick in. But it was just this massive engulfing candle that did MicroStrategy really dirty. Like, what a volume session this was, and just engulfed an extended period of time here on the daily. So yeah, that's MSTR. I do think it will start to recover. It's going to be a little bit more of a tougher one, I think, because of how volatile it was, and it was gamma squeezy. So yeah, a lot of shorts getting squeezed out there, but now heading back to the south side is MSTR. But yeah, there is some IBIT there, guys. Let's take a look at the Qs as well, too. Somewhat short. I'm looking for it to break some support levels here and see if we can continue to the south side, because the market is relatively weak. Tesla punched through the volume-weighted average price, but then had the inability to hold it for an extended period of time. Now trading below it, as the rest of the market is as well too. Other than the airlines are one of the hotter, I guess, sectors, transportation being that, in the market right now, Sharif, because we know Delta had a pretty good earnings report, raising 25 guidance as well too. So the outlook is positive on there. We're looking to have record years for Delta. So just look for the strength, look for the continuation in strength with the strong names, and look for the continuation of weakness within the weak names. So yeah, don't fight the trend. Don't try to milk any stones. Let's see what Adara has over at the big desk.
To do our earnings segment here, this was on hold a bit because we didn't really have many earnings, but now that earnings season is starting to come back, this segment will return as well. Starting here with Delta, we just heard airlines there from Joe. Delta beating on earnings per share and for sales. They also did here guide pretty well for Q1 2025, expecting 7 to 9% revenue growth. So that is actually above the consensus estimate of around 5%. Their operating margin here and EPS guidance also decent. They're the lower end of their EPS guidance for Q1 2025. Actually missed estimates. For the fiscal year, though, their CEO, Ed Bastian, basically saying that he thinks it's going to be one of the best years for them financially. So keep an eye on DAL. WPA, this is quite the rounded top here at Walgreens Boots Alliance, but they're still up here about 21%. Basically posting an EPS beat and a sales beat, and they also maintain their guidance for EPS for fiscal 2025. They have not, though, provided guidance for the fiscal year for sales. So keep an eye on that sales guidance. The lower end of their guidance for EPS actually did miss estimates as well. We're going to take a look here because we have actually some pretty big earnings coming up next week. On Monday after the bell, we're going to get KB Homes, as well as frequent small cap runner Air Test Systems, so AEHR. Then on Tuesday night here, we're going to have I'm just waiting for my platform to load. Tuesday night, we have Applied Digital Corporation, which has had investment from NVIDIA. But then Wednesday morning is when we get bank earnings. This is, as we know, the real start of a new earnings season. JPM, Citigroup, BlackRock, Wells Fargo, and Bank of New York Mellon all reporting before the bell. And then on Thursday morning, we're going to get another list of really exciting names. TSM here, Taiwan Semi, United Health Group, which we know will be on watch after the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Goldman Sachs, also their Bank of America, Morgan Stanley. So it should be a really exciting earnings week next week. Just be aware, usually bank earnings on Friday, but this year, they're on a Wednesday. Back to you.
Thank you, as always, Adara. Much appreciated. Yeah, guys, continue to let us know what you want to look at in the chat. We're going to try to stick to these strong names, as I mentioned not too long ago. American Airlines trading significantly well today. Let's see what we're up on that. AAO, come on, So yeah, up 4.25% here on American Airlines, and Delta was pushing in around that double-digit gain on the session. So let's take a look at DAL as well too, because it's starting to encroach an area that I like. So let's take a look. Why you always gotta do that to me? So yeah, okay. So yeah. Oh my days.
Right?
Yeah, there we go. So here we are. Let's see if we can break some of these key resistance levels as we are. That volume on the lower time frame isn't quite picking up yet, but I think we can go and test the high of day, especially with the market starting to recover here as well too. So that can be positive for the airlines. Yeah, and here we go. As we go and test this, if we get a solid test of this resistance here, then I'm going to look to participate on that front, 67.60. But right now we're just kind of consolidating in this leg here. So I think I'm going to get a little bit in here just to get our toes wet here, Sharif, and see if we can continue and go and test the high a day. Extremely strong, up over 10% on the session. What is your look there on the airlines, my guy?
All right, I'm just Easy Media, the short float, according to Trade Ideas on SBEV, is 0.25% with a 47.7 million share float. Thank you for the 199 super chat. Appreciate that, my friend. You know, it should always be prefaced that the short float information could be up to 2 weeks old. So it's updated every 14 days. Sometimes it's accurate enough to be able to use it as an actionable metric. Sometimes not so much. So yeah, trade that with caution. Keep your eye on that. Now, here's the deal. MSW. We were taught it's going to halt again at 741. This one was a 10-minute halt. And now it's halted to the downside again. It is off that 1060 double top. It was a double top and drop, baby, because now we're halted at 741. We are technically now below the volume weighted average price on this halt. We're below the, why is the tap showing me? Oh, the tap's going crazy, so we're not going to look at that. It's below the 10, the 20, and VWAP. So to me, not interested at all. MSW 43.33%, Katina man, and this one can't seem to stay open. Yeah, the Katina man said finally we got a halter, and more accurate he could not be, because there's been very little in the way of movement today with these small cap gappers, at least to the high side, that is. I don't even look at percentage losers on the day. I just look at percentage gainers. Maybe that's a mistake by me, but in any event, here's the deal. We're still involved in Silo. I know the positions board's been acted a fool today, so hopefully it'll get fixed in a minute. We're still long Silo at 88. It's printed 98. It's having trouble with $2. That's kind of normal with these small cap gappers having issues with the whole dollar level. So we'll keep an eye there. The other trade we're involved in, AMPX, at this one. At 88s as well. I don't know what's going on with me in 88s today, but we're in at 388 on AMPX. Best fill I've had is 4. Still waiting for this one to break 4. It's a bit of a compression pattern right now with higher lows, but also lower highs on AMPX. But it's literally DATS. Finally, we get a triple-digit winner. We were involved in this one for $1, more than $1 banger, but it's gone. It's gone. It hasn't gone $1 since we got out, but it's going. It just wicked. $6.79, and now the book is going crazy. Look at the way that the book is moving, that you can tell the umpteen amount of volume that's coming in here. Big boy volume, $6.90 now HOD on DATS, moving into that $7 area, up 112%. I don't know if I gave you guys the deets on DATS. You like that, Aaron? It's not bad.
The deets on
DATS. Yeah, it's not too bad. I aspire to do better. $28 million market cap. Whoa, almost 87 million shares traded today with a float of 2.7 million shares, so small. And what's the situation right now with the short float? Let's check that out. DATS. Decent, 10% of the 2.75 million shares is borrowed short. So that's a sizable amount there relative to the percentage of the float. So there goes DATS. I'm not touching this right now. Again, it's going to come back closer to the 10 exponential. It did. I was involved in another trade. It did wick the 10 exponential at around 615, 612, in and out that area, and then it rocketed right up off that area again. Not unsurprising there. It's having trouble with 7, which is fine, because it is a whole dollar level, a psychological area of resistance. So Keep your eye out on that. Back into AMPX we go. Another attempt at 4. Do we have an ascending wedge here? What the hell is the deal with AMPX? How many touches are we going to get at 4 before it breaks through? Yeah, Katina, man. I need you to hit the long button there, my man. Neil's like, what stock? AMPX, Neil. It's whiffling and waffling with $4. Yeah, there you go. Come on, do something, buddy. Silo, though, sadly, is coming down. It's a $2 rejection. We don't have too much shares on this one. Let me tell you, though, anything south of 184, the stop is already in place. The only reason we were involved in this one, again, was this area, previous area resistance got in on that area. So we're keeping an eye on that. Is there anything else moving here in terms of small cap gappers? Not that I'm seeing. I'm checking the scanner super quick. Okay, there's a new entrant, GLXG. This doesn't seem like a new entrant. Do I have this up on the side chart? I do not. Okay, so we're going to take off QBTS, or we can take off Fubo. Fubo's doing bupkis. So GLXG. Here we go. Decent move up. It's up, what is it up? 87, 86% and change. Here's the 5-minute look. Is this lightly traded? No, it's 35 million shares traded on a dollar name. Yeah, kind of lightly traded. We'll see. $1.66 is where VWAP is at, but I'm hesitant to use anything with VWAP because, as you can see, it really hasn't respected the volume weighted average price on the day. I'm talking about GLXG. Let's throw in the ticker there super quick. Yeah, this one's definitely going to have to, I'm going to have to pack my patience with this one because I don't have a read on where support and resistance is. I mean, maybe that 165 area because there's price action resistance at 1030. Look, this one had no pre-market levels. It really started moving at 1015, which is sometimes good, sometimes not, right? You guys know one of my rules is a definable pre-market high and to take the long once that definable pre-market high is breached after the bell. This doesn't have that, so it makes it a bit trickier there. Oh, baby. I'm pretty sure the Katina man hit the buy button on AMPX because bang. Or Neil, because Neil was asking which one it was. There it is. And we're going to take out more there, Katina man. AM dang PX finally taking out $4. I had that resting order north of 4. Let's see if this one can take out the high of the day at 414. I'm packing my patience, Joseph.
Hey, good stuff there, my guy. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the top volume stocks here on the session. NVDA, again, as usual, at the top of its class.
Hey.
SOXL sitting in second place. And then IONQ putting in about 47 million shares traded on the session. IONQ, Let's take a look at this. So, yeah, I mean, this thing's been on an absolute tear for the past little while. Zoom out. Yeah, I mean, look at this monster. But what a crazy gap down. That is insane. If you're trapped at the top, we sold off over half of this run here on IONQ. I want to actually go a little bit here. Sorry, excuse me, IONQ. Let's see what we got sitting on a market cap. So, quantum computing play here on IONQ. $7 billion market cap here, but giving up over half of those gains on yesterday's session or the day before, sorry. So a really, really tough look. But what we can do here, folks, to stay positive is start to mark out these gaps and see if eventually that we start to go and head towards them. AAL is starting to break out. I was speaking about staying with our relative strength, and now breaking some key resistance zones is AAL. But let's get back to IONQ here real quick. The volatility is in on this, so those premiums are extremely high on IONQ. But yeah, let's see if we can go and eventually, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. We know what Jensen had to say about quantum, so we're a couple steps away, a couple years away at least, at getting the full effect of quantum. So that's why you see all these stocks taking hits, which is extremely unfortunate, but it is what it is. Let's see if that volatility sticks, and then we can go and head into that gap range and then maybe base a play off of that as well too. So that is IONQ there, folks. A lot of people talking about it in the chat as well. So what else are you guys looking at in the chat? Please to let me know. Someone says they're short Adobe. Yeah, let's take a look at Adobe. I mean, being short some tech isn't the worst thing right now, not the worst play, because we are really weak, and it's one of the weaker sectors within the market. But look at Adobe.
What a hot mess.
Yeah, we're taking a beating here, Sharif. is Adobe. Wow.
That's a daily, Joseph?
Yeah, that's the daily here. Gap down and then essentially doesn't even look back. Breaking through some monstrous support zones here and continuing that southeast trajectory is Adobe. Where's our next stop? Maybe here, 404 in the 400s on Adobe, but that is not a pretty chart at all.
Yes.
Unless you're a bear.
All right, let's look at Kit. Shout out to my man Amir Barak, one of the OG small cap gapper traders. He's always in the chat. Shout out to Amir. Let's look at Kit. He wants me to look at Kit. That's exactly what we're going to do. So look, Amir, it's whiffling, it's waffling with that volume weighted average price. I don't necessarily like it because I don't have a discernible trend. I have a big boy move up on this candle at 940, but since that time, we've been locked in a very tight range, if I might say, 335 to the downside, essentially 370 at its best point. That ain't going to cut it for me. It does have areas that you can say, look, you know, I'm gonna place a buy order, a resting buy order at the low end of the range, or a resting sell order at the top. You can do that with these ones. I'm not saying that that is not feasible. It's just not my style. KITT, it's up 22%, respectable, but right now caught in a bit of a range, no discernible trend. Let's zoom out a little bit on this one. Let's see what the half an hour. Okay, so this one is one that we were trading, obviously, because it's had a couple of good days under its belt. It's holding a key area of technical support too, Amir. I mean, look at this day over here on the 26th of December and the 27th. We topped out at $3. Look how many times we got into $3 and we topping tailed and we rejected that area. Let me just throw in the ticker super quick for everybody. And then, Amir, today we're defending very well, might I add, that $3 area. And we did yesterday as well. But we're also rejecting that $4 area, which was a key area of previous resistance. I don't want to say yesterday. Obviously, yesterday the market was closed. The day prior to that and the day prior to that, on the 7th, we defended for. Today, we're rejecting for. Likewise with the day, what the hell day was it? 8th? 8th, yeah, the 8th. So it's up a nice 19%, but it's going to have to be a little bit more directional to the high side for me to get involved. Okay, so AMPX, let's call a spade, baby. It rejected 4. This, to me, is not enough to say, look, we claimed 4. So we tried to claim it initially, we rejected. Then we rejected off it strictly. Then we breach it. That's where I got the print. I got the print at 406, and then right down below 4 we go. Now we're working our way into that 391s. This displeases me greatly because you've had now 2 failed rejections, 2 failed break and takes of that $4 area. I'm long at 88s. I've already put my stop below this area trough over here. So for breaches 381 or 382, I'm gonzino. MSW is open again. Here we go with this monster. It's south of VWAP. Can't trade it until it reclaims VWAP. It had 2 big boy down halts, essentially coming from that 1058 HOD, and it dropped to $6.62. Hard to manage risk on a trade like this. Number one, because it doesn't stay open for that long. Number two, it's moving dollars at a time, and it's only about $7. So that's kind of a bit of a scary look there. Here it comes, though, into that $8 area, and by extension of that, it's going to take VWAP. So let's see if it can continue moving up here. It looks like 797. We may halt to the upside here at 97s on MSW. It's doing movements, guys. I mean, like, look, it's right at VWAP. Looks like we will halt here unless this is a false halt, Joseph. We are halted again.
I guess the halt's there, yeah.
It's like been halted a bunch. It's impossible to trade.
Yeah, that's it.
I shouldn't say that. It's not impossible to trade. Some people make their money on trading these halts, right? Yeah. So I shouldn't say that, but.
Yeah, I think that's a quick recipe to go gray real quick. It was just being stuck in those halts.
I'm like, what does that mean? That's
just the stress levels. Guys, let's continue to see what we got going on. I know we had some earnings reports today too, and I heard Neil say the banks start reporting next week too, so that's how you know you're gonna kick off earnings season. But we had Tilray, Dallas, and WBA. But let's see what we got next week as well too, because that is interesting. So nothing Monday, or maybe in a couple weeks, or is this not updated? So nothing that I see as of right now. Okay, so JPM midweek, the 15th. We got JPM in the morning, guys, and then we have Citigroup, and then we got BlackRock as well too. So let's see how that one is. I mean, with the ETF coming in and everything along those lines, looking forward to see BlackRock and the banks start rolling, and then usually the week after or a couple weeks after is when we start getting those big tech names that everybody looks forward to. So yeah, exciting times rolling into earnings season. Usually fun along those lines. So yeah, looking forward to that, guys. Continue to let me know what you're looking at in the chat. We're in some TSLA starting to break down. So this primary trend to the downside might be intact to the fullest. So don't want to fight the longs too much. I did mention the VIX not too long ago as well too, as that's spiking. Usually the volatility to the downside and in the market starts to pick up. So finding those longs might be slightly harder. And as of right now, if you're not in at the right positioning or catching these bottoms, those breakout trades might be slightly tougher. All right. So views on Uber long September calls. Let's take a look at UBER. We're going. What do you guys? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Cowboys are going to sign Mike McCarthy again. I just don't understand, Joseph. What has he shown to deserve a contract extension?
Wasn't he? Oh, really? I thought they fired. Did they fire him?
No.
Okay, Mike McCarthy. He was the old Green Bay.
He was the old Green Bay. Then he got fired. Then he locked himself in the basement for a year, learned this new age metrics that the coaches are trying to use now, and then thinks that, he's ready to go with America's team.
So he pulled Aaron Rodgers there, went on the old ayahuasca trip. You had the old ayahuasca trips there. Looking for.
I don't know what the hell the Cowboys are thinking. Man, Jerry Jones is just too stubborn, bro. Yeah. Unreal, this guy. You see that? You see that cameo that he made on Landman?
No.
Oh yeah, and he can act, bro. Jerry can act. Oh, yeah? Let me tell you. Yeah, he made a cameo on Landman. So he talks about like his oil days. That's how he made his money, obviously. And then he bought the Cowboys with money that he made from like 5 wells, Joseph.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, in California. And Dats is absolutely breaking out. Wow, but yeah, okay, I want to mention that. Yeah, Jerry Jones.
That's interesting.
In any event, here we go. DATS is a dang rocket ship. I'm lamenting, obviously, not having gotten back into this. We had a really good trade on it earlier, but there it goes, taking out that 740 HOD on DATS, guys. We have 127% winner, and it looks like it's continuing to go. Again, I don't want to touch this unless it comes back into that 10 exponential. Right now, the 10 exponential on my 5-minute chart is sitting around 640, 650. So, yeah, that's about 75 pennies away from where we're trading right now, man. Anyway, really, man, he is trash. I can't watch another year of him or Dak. I don't like either. All right? Nephew with a capital P, I'm with you on that one. I don't think Dak's the man to take you to the Super Bowl. I felt that way for many years, but there's nothing I can do. I don't like Mike McCarthy either, but there's nothing you can do. You can just keep going on with whatever the big boys decide. Big smile. He's been trying to act like a successful GM for a few decades now.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah, he's quite a stubborn guy. Obviously, he works with his kids, but you know that he's got the final say literally on everything. So
Jerry Jones is like the modern-day Jackie Moon. If you know who.
Tell me, I don't even know who Jackie Moon is.
Jackie Moon, the player owner,
uncultured
coach,
animal.
Yeah, Jackie Moon. From Semi-Pro, Will Ferrell from Semi-Pro.
I didn't watch that.
So yeah, he essentially owns this team called the Flint Tropics, and he's like the player, he's the owner, and he's the coach. So yeah, and then he tries to get in a merger into the NBA. So yeah, classic. You've never seen Semi-Pro, dude?
No.
My.
But look, Joseph, Rohit dropped a super chat earlier than that. Yeah. So shout out to Rohit first and foremost.
Thank you.
Rohit wants to know about Uber. And he wants to know specifically about September calls. So that's right up your alley. But I've already made my point very clear about Uber and the $60 level, which held for 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're in the 5th week of holding $60. $60 is an important level on Uber. Area defend. Don't look over here. This is Black Monday, and that was the yen unwind or a yen carry, the unwinding of the yen carry trade, and it obviously reclaimed $60 right away. So we've been using $60 as both support and resistance. I'll submit to you that over here we defended it, and just like in the same way, we rejected it back in January of 2021. We couldn't break through that level, so $60 is an important level to me, but he wants to know specifically about the September calls, my man.
Yeah, so I know you were just talking about it as well, too. September calls, give you enough time. Let's see what Uber is going on. We've been kind of trading in this range for an extended period here, Sharif, so let's see if we can break out As Neil would like to draw some trend lines here, we are breaking that trend line to the downside. It is slightly steep, but we need to sit on top of this as well too, folks. So, I mean, Uber for the long run, I like Uber as a play. I think it's a good company, starting to turn profits as well too. Kind of got out of the dumps that it was in for a long time. So, again, just give yourself enough time on those contracts. I think you'll be all right. Getting it around these support levels is good for you. So yeah, I think you'll be sitting pretty in the coming months. Once the market decides that it wants to turn around, you're sitting in Uber. I think it's a good company. Rideshare is the way to go now. So yeah, I like the Uber calls there for September. It gives you plenty of time, and that's what I was emphasizing on earlier with Kyle. Is just give yourself enough time on these contracts. Otherwise, Theta will just chew up the value, and then you'll be scratching your head once those contracts start to trade in the money, and you're like, well, why am I still down on these contracts, right? Well, it's because time diminished the value of those contracts. So that's one thing to really keep an eye out when you guys are trading. If you're new to trading options and you've been trading them for a while and you get curious to why, it's like, okay, well, my theses are playing out, my trades are working, but I'm not turning as much of a profit as I should be using this leverage derivative. Well, just always be aware of the extrinsic value of those contracts, okay? Really, really extremely important. To get a grasp of options, I think you need to understand the intrinsic and extrinsic value that they hold before you acquire them. So if you're buying in the money, then you have a bit of both. But if you're buying at the money or out the money calls, then you only have time value, and you need those trades to work out relatively quick, especially according to your expiry.
Just before we go to Adaro, yeah. Guys, energy is up big today. Obviously, oil's up 3%. And somebody was asking in the chat, great question by you guys. Here's the deal. Energy firms and the barrel in general are rising on the back of new Biden administration sanctions on Russia. So Biden administration imposes its broadest package of sanctions yet, targeting Russia's oil and gas revenues in an attempt to give Kyiv and the incoming administration of Donald Trump leverage to reach a deal for peace in Ukraine. It's so nice that Biden is worried about Donald Trump and making, setting up everything for success. What a great guy. Yeah. U.S. Treasuries has slapped sanctions on Russian companies Gazprom and one I can't pronounce, nor will I try, which explore, produce, and sell oil, as well as 183 vessels that have shipped Russian oil. So oil, up on the day today as a result of new sanctions by Biden. Looks like he woke up from his nap to be able to throw in some new sanctions there. Adara's at the big desk.
We're going to start here by thanking Prop Firm Match here, one of our new sponsors. Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to find the perfect prop firm? There's so many options out there, so it's easy to get lost, but that's where Prop Firm Match comes in. Prop Firm Match is the ultimate platform to help you identify and compare reliable prop firms tailored to your trading style and your goals. Whether you're after low fees, high profit splits, or quick funding evaluations, we've got you covered. So say goodbye to hours of research and confusion, because Prop Firm Match makes it simple to find your perfect prop firm. Scan the QR code or visit propfirmmatch.com today and take the guesswork out of finding the perfect prop firm. In the meantime here, we're also going to take a look at this market, which is, to put it lightly, very weak. S&P 500 down almost 2%. The NASDAQ down more than 2%. Both are at their day's lows. We also hear, it is worth noting, we had some comments from Fed's Goolsbee, which kind of contradicted everything else the rest of the market had to say. We had stronger than expected NFP numbers, quite significantly so. We also a little bit more worrisome is the fact that our University of Michigan inflation print was 0.5% higher than expected. So that was pretty significant here. We wanted lower inflation. Now the one-year inflation expectation up quite significantly. So we had the market drop even further on that number. But basically, Fed Goolsbee saying these numbers are actually good. And he doesn't think, as of right now, that the market is inflation is too overheated. So we'll have to see what happens there. But either way, Bank of America said that they don't see any more rate cuts at all this cycle. They think we're actually about to enter a hiking cycle. So that's really interesting there. And in a day where the market's really weak, not everything is weak, CEG here, Constellation Energy Group, this is a name that certainly knows how to rally, up 23% today in yet another deal. They did have this $16.4 billion deal here to acquire Capline. Last but not least, Calpine. Last but not least, Meta, META, initially great look on the day here, now pulling back. Basically what happened here was we have all these social media stocks on watch, a lot of them spiking higher, including Snapchat and Pinterest, as we do have the Supreme Court set to hear arguments on the TikTok ban. Make sure you join our polls. We have a new poll starting around now. It's called the Playmaker poll. So vote if you think we should go long or short the SPY. Usually people vote long, but based on what the SPY is doing right now, we might actually have a different contender. And so make sure you participate in these polls, like and subscribe to the stream, and join Neil for his always exciting lesson of the day. Take it away, Neil.
Very much, Adair. We got another lesson of the day here, and I'm just going to boldly predict that the Playmaker poll, everyone's going to vote long again, because we always vote long, don't we, even when it's a down day. But there's a saying in news media: if it bleeds, it leads. But I want to posit one. On a day like today, if it doesn't bleed, then it should lead. And what I mean by that is today is the kind of day where if you can find pillars of strength, specifically with one kind of setup, I think it gives you opportunities for the next couple of sessions. So when you look at what's going on with the ES here on a 60-minute chart, I mean, look, I don't care what time frame you put up, it's not going to look good. But on a 60-minute, you don't actually have any positive hours for today, and a couple of percents to the downside. Same thing with the NASDAQ. Both have broken recent support levels. But there is a particular setup to maybe be bullish on some stocks, possibly for the afternoon, certainly for next week, assuming that things close without abject disaster. And the specific setup is, if we go all red all morning, and you can find some stocks that have major support, whether trend support or in the daily, that it washed, regained, and then trended up, then I think you've got some good ones. Now, caveat, obviously, when I came with the stocks to look at, it was like 20, 30 minutes ago, so you have to close strong. But what I like about Meta, and I'm going to talk about Meta and Google, Alphabet, and Boeing, all three of these names have something in common. You had a good prior support level, or a big one at least, where you had resistance, closes, support for a few days. For Meta, it was in and around the 600 change. It even broke 600. You wicked that bottom, and as the market was making continuous lows, it's making higher lows. Now, obviously, I'm going to want something like this to hold on to the prior high so that you're still stair-stepping up. But this is what I want to see on a day where the market's bleeding. Like, we know what's going down. We know what we're going to continue to be bearish on going into next week. But where can we find things with relative strength? If Meta can close holding this, green, which would be 610.72, I think it's a positive sign to be able to favor some longs, because it's held that wick bottom, it's held a 50 period, it's held a prior high, and a lot of this has to close above this level. Then you get a march back into the highs. The other name that is of this ilk, or one of the two other names that's of this ilk, is going to be Alphabet. And this is more trend support for Alphabet. It's been making higher lows since bouncing off the 50 period on the daily. It's failed 200 a couple times, but each time it's put in a higher low. And like Meta, it broke a support level. Now, obviously, like I said, you're now starting to retest it. You need it to close above 191.60 here, but it wicked underneath support, came right back. If it can manage to close above 191.6, that trend line, then I'm bullish on Google. The one that seems like it has a better chance in this bleeding market to continue to show that relative strength is actually Boeing, believe it or not. So, whether or not we get the second half of the day that can support those false bottoms and then reclaims on both Meta and Google remains to be seen, but you want to look for these opportunities going into next week. Boeing's done it already. And it just feels like it hasn't even had a red print on this 15-minute. So obviously, Boeing recently has been holding on to 170 and the 200 period moving average. On a day where the market is bleed, lower lows, lower highs all the way through, Boeing right now has liquidity grabbed underneath the 200 period moving average. It is now trended back up. It's retaken 168, 169. Now it's retaken support at 170. This, to me, all it's got to do, just close above that 200 period moving average, close above that 170, and you have trapped some shorts, you've gotten some weak hand longs out, and then a continuation of this trend looks pretty good into 180 for next week. So sometimes on a day like today, well, you're probably holding on to some shorts or looking for reentries if you've gotten out of everything like I have, or you're setting up some ideas for next week. And one of those things you can do is on a day where it's bleeding, find out what is trying to lead. Obviously, you have some earnings names that are going. But there's a couple or three that liquidity grabbed underneath major support, whether it's the 200 period on Boeing, whether it's Meta, triple day bottom, whether it's Alphabet, a trend on the daily chart, trend bottom. They've all managed to break early, regain later. Now it's just a matter of closing above that support. If they do, then to me, that's a bullish sign for next week. And a lot of times in Friday afternoon, you don't necessarily want to overtrade, but the market's still going to give you plenty of information for which you can plan trades for next week. So you have a little bit less work to do, and you can watch some more football on the weekend. Go Bills. Well, of course I do, Sharif. You know I got to drop my Bills in here. That's how we got to do up. And look, Sharif, you would do the same thing. Sharif would do the same thing if the Cowboys were going to be in the playoffs. The unfortunately thing for the Cowboys is, and here's another lesson of the day for you. Traders need to learn from their mistakes. And this is my issue with this McCarthy thing. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it is broke, then maybe you should look to fix it. You know, if my car has trouble starting in the spring, and then my car has a little bit of trouble starting in the fall, you think I'm not gonna do anything about it when it's minus 17 out and I haven't gotten that checked out? Of course you would, because I don't want to get stranded. And it's the same thing that the Cowboys need to do by just acknowledging the fact that, hey, while there has been some success, clearly something needs to change in Dallas. I hope they make some kind of a change in case GT, the number 2 in the Heisman, goes there as a running back. I hope he doesn't get wasted if they end up picking him. But you got to be able to make a change. Just like in trading, sometimes you got to flip it up. If you go from long to short or short to long, the Cowboys got to do something. I'm just saying, Sharif. It's at the point now where I might have to stop hating on them for a little bit just because I feel bad. I feel bad for you guys. Sorry. Back to the desk.
Savagery. Prolong. Oh, okay. All right.
I had a whole bit. No, I'm not doing it.
No, you're not doing it. Who was calling you? Who was it? Jerry on the phone there?
Not gonna do
No,
it.
you're not gonna do it. That's all right. Bud. I know you're whistling some Dua.
Always,
Dua Lipa
baby.
not too long. Yeah, I messaged her for you, and I've got no response just yet. So we're still waiting. We're still waiting on that one. So yeah, I mean, hey, let's see what's going on with the overall market here, guys. Hovering around the lows. SPY a little weak on the session. Are we going to break these support levels? Maybe, possibly. Let's take a look at the Qs and see what's going on here. Yeah, so the Qs holding these levels. I think we break them at some point, forming lower highs here on the session. So, yeah, matter of time. If tech continues to be weak, then yeah, I think it's going to break. So, okay, so Elon messaged me in the chat saying, Joe, take a look at BA. Moving fairly well here, Sharif, on the session.
Nice.
As you can see that we're pumping through the volume weighted average price, and now above that on BA. Let's zoom out here and see what's going on from a daily standpoint. And I mentioned this, so we're over 30% off the lows here on BA. Adara was talking about this. I think this is one of her picks as well, too. So we got to figure out what we're going to do with that. I don't know what we're going to call it, but just a performance thing we're working on, because we went over our top 3 picks for 2025 yesterday, and we're going to kind of just do a performance-based analysis. So we're working on that, seeing what's going on. BA holding around these levels. Let's see here, So yeah, up above 25% off of those lows, continuing to recover. I like BA, and especially as it's bouncing off of those intraday levels, continuing to move higher. Going to go and test that opening drive high. But yeah, good luck there on BA, Elon. Really like that one. And yeah, here's the Playmaker poll. I know what I'm voting on this one because I like to play off the bounce. When I use options, when I have profit, hold on, I got a good question in here before I send it to you, Sharif. When I use options, when I have profit, I sell my calls or puts. Time will get you. Agreed. Yeah, exactly. So time value is really important. Don't start trading them until you kind of get an understanding of the Greeks. But let's see what Adara has to say at the big desk.
With Boeing, just be cognizant of that 171.80 level. This is a stock I've seen a lot lately, and it really loves interacting with this level. As you can see here, it's become support, resistance. This is just the 15-minute chart. Resistance, support, resistance. This morning it was resistance. Now we actually reject a little bit below that level. So be aware of 171.80. 172.80 is another level of resistance, and it's worth noting we haven't been able to really hold above that 174 for a while either. So just some potential areas to be aware of for BA as it makes its flight to the upside. Back to you.
All right, keeping my eye on DATS over here because it's got the biggest retracement, 2-candle pullback, and it defends 7, and it defends this 10 exponential moving average on the 5 at around 686. It's not as directional, obviously, haven't been locked in a range since about, maybe 5 to 12, give or take. Since we took out that 7 level, we've been kind of locked in between 740 and 7. So a bit of a range established right now on DATS, up 120%, very strong, very directional, but really not clearing through 7 in the way that it certainly cleared 6 and 5 and all the other levels that it had on the day. It's up over triple digits now. So let's see if it wants to defend that 10 exponential on the 5 or whether it wants to come in for a deeper retracement, possibly into around 6 1/4, 6 1/3. That's where I'm gauging this area, price action. Previously resistance, looking for it to be support, as well as the 20 exponential on the 5. It's around 6 1/4 right now. Back into 7 we go, and it's getting some prints south of 7 now on DATS. So let's keep our eye out on that one and hopefully execute well on it. I'm in a new trade, GLXG. It's up 75%. Decent one. We already took a couple of prints over here. There's a seller at 80, and there has been for some time. We weren't able to take out that $1.80 level on the last attempt, and down we go now into the mid-60s. I like this one into about mid-50s. Reason is it's been awfully respectful of the 10 exponential, or sorry, the 20 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. That is the yellow line there. And basically every pullback has defended off the 20 on the day, whether it's the initial breakthrough that at 10:15, when we retrace back at 10:45, yet again at 11:20, yet again at 12 o'clock. And here we go, coming close to it now, printing that $1.65. I do have a dip trade set up though at 55. So I might have to move that up to 57s or 58s to account for the 20 exponential. I'm talking about GLXG. It's up nicely, again, 75% on the day, but well off the highs at that 216. Still involved in AMPX. This one holding above VWAP, and that's what's kept me in the trade. It did double bottom there at around 3 low 80s. It's putting in lower highs, but by the same token, marginally higher lows, okay? So I'll have to see whether this one can actually break and take 4 on a decisive basis, because every breach of 4 so far has been anemic and has retraced to the south side. So keep my eye on that. AMPX and GLXG, obviously very interested in DATS, but it's got to set up the right way. Right now, it's kind of 3-candle now pullback right now into that 7, but respecting 7. It hasn't even touched the 10 exponential. So let's see what this one does. If this one runs and breaks out 750, we could certainly have a big boy mover on our hands today. And by that, I mean we can get into 200-300%, something that we've been seeing a lot more lately with these small cap gappers. I got pushed out of Silo on the move back down. I'm a little disappointed with my stop placement on here because I based it on the wicks rather than on the closing prints of these 2 candles. I'm talking about the 940 and 945 candles that initially had the high into 185. So this one comes all the way down, and for whatever reason, I have my stop north of 80. That should have not been the case. It should have been at 178, 177, and I missed a couple of prints there on the north side as a result of that. So Silo, profitable on it, but got pushed out for the remaining amount there. We'll keep an eye on that one, see if it wants to set up a little bit better. What are you guys looking at? Throw in some tickers in the chat there. Let me know. They got to be small cap gappers because I'm not going to be trading the MAG. Let me know what you guys are looking at. If maybe there's something that has not made it on to my scanner. Sometimes, these sub $1 names, you guys have more advanced notice than I do because I filter everything out south of 85 pennies. And so let me know if you guys are looking at anything interesting. CGBS, yeah, I've got that on here pretty. Pretty Panda, shout out to you. But this one is trading south of the volume weighted average price. And you know my rule about that. It's got to get above 97, 98 pennies for me to get interested. Ideally, given the proximity of VWAP to the dollar, I'd like it above and to stay above $1. And it already failed the dollar. Pretty Panda, look what it did. It weaseled up to 115. And as quickly as it got above the dollar, as quickly as it dropped back down, it did, though, find support at 87 pennies, and it has on a number of occasions. So 87 pennies, an important level here for CGBS, because it's been defending that level at least intraday. Keep an eye out on that one. Joseph, what do you got?
Yes, sir. I'm actually looking at Boeing. I'm about to pull it up here, guys, real quick, because I like one of the signals that are on the 5-minute print here. So let's see, we got an inverted hammer kind of as we were extended. So I'm going to look to play this here, folks. Maybe we get involved in some BA. Tab N1, love that it does that. Okay, so yeah, let's see what's going on here. We're gonna touch base on some Boeing. If we break the high of this candle, then we're gonna get out. So 175.50, we like that a lot. Gonna look for a pullback here on Boeing. Not too much size here, but I think we can get maybe somewhat around the volume weighted average price, or 170 being one of the primary targets. Pulling back is the market. We are going to go and test those lows of days here, Sharif, as we head into that flat bottom or key support levels in on the Qs and the SPY as well. So relatively weak in the tech sector, dragging everything down. Let's take a look at XLF because we have yet to do so today. XLF, one of my favorite sectors here, because we know that we got JPM and company mid next week starting to report their earnings. So yeah, really weak session here for XLF. And the SPY is holding up relatively well, considering that we are selling aggressively here on XLF. So yeah, a little bit tougher look in the financial sector. Let's see what else we got here, guys. Continue to let us know what you're looking at. Yeah, someone in the chat mentioned DKNG, so DraftKings. You're breaking through some key resistance levels from an intraday perspective and continuing to move higher. Slight pullback here, but that volume on the 5-minute time frame is stepping in quite well, confirming that breakout. Let's see if we can go and test the high day on DKNG, but I like this play. If you were involved earlier, then congratulations to you. A beautiful VWAP hold on DKNG, continuing to move northeast on that front. I know someone else in the chat said Zcar as well. Sorry, let me pull up Zcar for you guys and see what we got going on from an intraday standpoint. Yeah, not very liquid, not something that I would be looking to be trading from an intraday perspective. Zoom Holdings, Zoomcar Holdings, sorry, trading around $2. I think this is more around your wheelhouse, Sharif, with that price target of, or this price that it's trading at right now, around $2.
Zcar?
Yeah, Zcar, but nothing crazy on it. I don't think it's something that is outstandish. On that one, so RVPH, yeah, let's take a look at RVPH for you guys. RVPH. Revia Pharmaceuticals, wow, trading really well. Definitely your wheelhouse, Sharif, but again, from a liquidity standpoint, not really there. Not something that I would necessarily be looking to play, but let's see if we got anything going on with it. We'll take a look at the market cap on RVPH and what they actually do. So $71 million market cap. Revia Pharmaceuticals Holdings, Inc., clinical stage biopharmaceutical company. The company discovers, develops, and seeks commercialized therapeutics for diseases representing unmet medical needs. The company's pipeline focuses on the central nervous system. Okay, next. Okay, truth and giggles. I see it. You don't got it. Please don't.
My man, I told you not to spam the chat. I told you Bayer was a good call out, but do not spam the chat. Yeah, I told him once.
All right. Did you put him on timeout or
no?
All right. Okay. So there you go.
You might have to go on it now.
Yeah. But yeah, you were looking at this thing, Sharif. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't look pretty. Oh, I have the wrong ticker up.
BAU.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's not a bad one.
Anyways, yeah, but not look. Please don't spam the chat, guys. Truth and giggles. I mean, come on, well, guys, why is everybody spamming it now? Hey, it'll put you on timeout, so please don't do that. If we see it, just repost it once or twice. We'll try to go through as many as we possibly can, but you know that a lot of people in the chat are putting out their names as well, too, so if we see it, eventually we will, so.
Yes, absolutely. DATS just broke 7. broke the 10 exponential, and so now I'm gauging possible support at 640 to 650. Now it's above that right now. It's a green candle on the 1, currently a green candle on the 5, but it's an inside candle above the low of the previous candle, but well below the high. So I've layered my orders at 6 1/4. Now I may miss this, okay? 6 1/4 and 6. I've put my dip trades in and around there for DATs. Those are the levels that I like. I may miss them. If I do, then what I will, my plan is to take the first 5-minute candle to make a new high. So currently, the first 5-minute candle to make a new high would have to be above 707, because that's where the high of the previous 5-minute candle was. This one looks like it's back close to 6 3/4. It did. It took 6 3/4, still below 7 though. So I want to see what this one does. I'm packing my patience. I'd like to have an advantageous price on this one, but you know, sometimes you don't get it. We shall see. So keeping my eye on DATS, definitely a looker on the day. Oh, there we go. Hate when that happens. All right, I'm also in AMPX still, also in GLXG. AMPX finally catching another bid back into the mid-90s there. But Joseph, you know that the Model Y is out, right?
It's out. Oh, the new one?
Well, it's out in China.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Why did they get it before us?
I don't know, bro. They just do.
Right.
So here's the deal. No, can we? Because it's blocking the price. Yeah. So here's the deal. Okay, let's build this. We had a segment before you were on.
We're gonna build this.
Yeah, we had a segment called Build Your EV, and what new way, what a way to kind of rekindle that whole segment with one of the best-selling cars in the world. Model Y, I think it did hold that crown for a little bit. And so this is in Hong Kong dollars, obviously, because it's not available in North America. I don't know what the conversion is right now, but that is the look. So here we go. Let's build this. Let's find out what the deal is. So the long range, I'm really surprised because I thought the long range was over 700 kilometers. This one's saying 551 with the real world. Okay, so I think the North American version might be a little bit different because there's two versions that I saw. One had around 500 kilometers of range, one had 7. So this one is showing me 551 for the long range and 466 for the rear-wheel drive. Now, we don't even have rear-wheel drive anymore in Canada for these Model Ys. It's either performance or long range. That's not obviously the case in Hong Kong, but let's go with long range, whatever. It's got a Is it actually faster? Yeah, it is. So the long range is 4.3 seconds, 0 to 100, where the rear-wheel drive is 5.9. So let's go with the long range. And you know, I got an affinity for blue, but what the hell is this blue? That's not the blue that they had before. What? Oh, you did. Thank you, Ram. Okay, that's so nice of you, Ram. I know, right?
Yeah, I just
so proud of herself, eh? All right, hold on. Let me see exactly here.
It's about 56K.
Midday. 56K, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Okay.
I just typed that in, yeah.
So let's go with blue, because that's just my affinity to go with blue there. And that's going to cost us 14,000 Hong Kong dollars just for that blue, Joseph.
For that blue?
And
What's
then
the black, though? What's the black?
The black, I think, is free. Yeah, it's included.
I free.
Yeah, I know, so do I, right? And then these wheels.
Yeah,
all right, so these are 19s.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I'm going to need 20s, Joseph.
But I don't like the gray on them. I don't like the gray.
I don't like them either.
Black. All right,
but we can wrap them or we can spray them. We can spray them black. I definitely agree with you. I definitely like the black wheels a lot better, but I like the larger wheel size too. So we're going to go with that. And then I got to go white interior.
White interior?
Yeah, I got to go white interior. That's going to cost us 9,600 Hong Kong dollars, my man. And look how it's right-hand drive, by the way, because Hong Kong, they drive on the right hand, baby.
This scenario seems all too familiar. But,
right? Okay, so there we go. We got the 5-seat layout. We got the white leather or leatherette or vegan leather, as your boy Elon likes to call it. And then I don't know, Joseph, I'm going to have to get that FSD. Yeah. But that's going to run me 54,000
sign us up, baby.
Hong Kong dollars. We're going to hit ad.
All right, sign us up.
I'm not paying the bill.
What's that next one? We may as well do this ad as well, too.
What would we need enhanced autopilot, my man? We're going to get it FSD.
Okay, all right.
Right?
All right.
So it's like kind of a little bit of an overlap there. Now, order your new Model Y. How much is this thing going to cost me? Well, I got to pay 2,000 Hong Kong dollars right now, but it's going to cost me 741,833 HK dollars. Again, don't know what the conversion is. I can do that in a minute, but this is the new Model Y, guys, and we don't have any indication as to when it may be available in North America or Europe for that matter, but we do know that the Shanghai Gigafactory does export the Model Y to Europe. So Europe could get it first if the Shanghai factory is the one that's pumping them out. And yeah, pumping them out, at least, you know, set up to pump them out, because there's a whole thing that has to go in with that. So there it is. There's your inaugural version of Build Your EV with your boy Joseph. Since Joseph's been on the show, we've never done it before.
A cool 137K.
That's a lot, bro.
Yeah,
for a Model Y?
For a Model Y.
That's insane.
Hey, man, we loaded it, though.
We did load it, but Joseph, it's not going to cost that much at all if we do that up here. So there it is. Now I'm involved in DATS. So we just entered DATS as it got into the 20 exponential on the 5. I do have a planned dollar cost average resting order to defend 6. And the reason I have it there is because that's where VWAP is. So this might be a deeper retracement than the 20. 20 sometimes holds, sometimes it doesn't. We're in at 34s. We're printing essentially 30s right now. I will DCA into 6, but let me tell you, anything south of 590, and I'm Gonzino on this one. I don't want to give back the profits that we made earlier on it. Smaller size here, guys, than the original entries over here, so I won't have as many beak wetters. We're going to have to wait and see, number one, whether this holds 6 1/4. And number two, whether it holds 6. If it doesn't hold 6 1/4, obviously. So I'm involved in this one right now. Come what may. What do you got?
Good stuff there. Looking for the short on BA. As of right now, everything is starting to squeeze and moving to the top side. So if we break this 170, 150 as we do right now, I'm going to get out of this trade. Sorry, folks, nothing really going for the kid this morning. Happens from time to time. So yeah, that's just how it be sometimes. So let's see what NVDA is up to. I know Sharif doesn't even want to pay any mind to these big caps today. Rightfully so, because just chopping around. The overall market is chopping around as well too. BA just breached the high. AAL still showing some relative strength. Bitcoin hovering off those lows, recovering off them as well too, off that 92K price range. NVDA breaking through the volume weighted average price, but we do have the SPY and the Hughes still trading below the VWAP too, so that can indicate some weaker sentiment in the overall market. I think we're going to need some volume to step in order for us to break through those key levels. But if we do, I would look for a break and hold. But let's see what Adara is up to, and then we'll get back and talk some more stocks.
So look here at the IWM, this one making lower highs and lower lows, but finding a little bit of a base here just above 215. Either way, though, much like the rest of the market, bouncing but pretty weak here for the Russell 2000. We're going to take a look here at some of these tickers that are running. This first one is actually not a small cap, but a $6.5 billion market cap. A great pop here for a legend biotech with volume. There's some rumors apparently circulating here on M&A blogs suggesting that the company might be receiving some activist attention. So no evidence as of yet, but some rumors here for LEGN. Probably doesn't help that Legend Biotech has a 14% short float, so keep an eye on this ticker. Next up here, we also have to keep an eye on, of course, Sharif mentioned this one earlier, but DATS, just to get some info on this one. Shout out to Sharif, who I believe is a Dollar Club winner on this ticker. 10% short float, 2.73 million share float. So this one, very volatile. They did actually announce that offering, which brought them to the downside on Wednesday, so beware of DATS. Last but not least, another one that is known for being deeply volatile, case in point here with this pop to the downside, is Direct Digital. No catalyst for Direct Digital. 3.17 million share float, 6.5% short float. So these are some movers to be aware of. Also, here's the newest graphic here from Trader TV Research, not yet posted on X, but here is, I guess, its premiere appearance. This is basically looking at the weighting of the S&P 500. So, of course, you have a lot of these Mag 7 names within the top 10. Then I was unable to fit all 500 logos, of course. So this is basically going to be the top 10%, logos of the top 10%. So your company is basically 16 to 50 in the weighting. So you can see here Eli Lilly, Visa, XOM, and United Health all weighted pretty highly here. Then the rest of these are still within that top 50 of weighting. Let me know if you guys find any surprises in here. IBM being in the top 50 surprised me a little bit, as did Philip Morris. So definitely take a look here. This will be on X within the next half hour, guys. Back to you.
That's a sick infographic, Adara. That's excellent, by the way. Shout out to Adara. Nice. All right. Did you have anything?
Yeah, let's talk about IBIT here real quick, Sharif, and then I'll send it back to you.
Yeah.
I'm starting to recover. Mentioned this time and time again, holding those levels, that 92K on spot. But here we are breaking through, running into key resistance levels on IBIT. Kyle Burdett has a put on this. So yeah, let's see if that plans out. Just to go over Sharif's lesson here. We're forming somewhat of a triple top. I don't know if you can see, if you're seeing what I'm seeing here, Sharif, but 1, 2, 3, now rejecting on that third test. Let's see if we decide that we want to go lower. I don't know what's going on. This 92K level is holding extremely strong. I thought it was going to break multiple times. That hasn't been the case. So is that just revealing how strong Bitcoin is and that it just wants to chop around in this range? We know Saylor grabbed some more Bitcoin in that mid-90s as well too. So does he want the price to go lower? I don't know actually, because if he's like, yeah, if it goes lower, I'll just buy more at a cheaper price, which it seems to be make a lot of sense. But I mean, the guy has almost 500,000 or over 500,000 Bitcoin. So I would want that price to start appreciating on that front. I don't know what you think about that, Sharif.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the one that is involved.
I thought we would be at 1.25, I think, at this point, just considering I mentioned this before, how long we consolidated it. Like for about 8 months or so, we traded in within that range, that 10, 15K range. And then that move was only about a month long, and it went up to 108 at the highs, and then has since pulled back and cooled off. So.
Yeah, we'll have to pack. I'm still a fan. I think that, you know, if we do get that Bitcoin reserve and other countries see the U.S. do it, it'll become kind of just, you know, that hey, I don't want to be last in the party kind of thing. You'll see other countries doing it. Maybe more risk. Pro-risk countries. Obviously, we've seen El Salvador do stuff like that, but I would like to see some bigger countries do it as well. So here's the deal. We're in DATS right now, and I didn't get a fill at 602. There does seem to be a buyer, though, at 608. Every time we dip down into that 608 level, it's not crossing it on the bid. It keeps getting bought up at around 08. I'm packing my patience with this one because it's a big move down, but, you know, I don't want to say a needed move down, but completely understandable that it drops off that 750 because it was a dang rocket ship. Here we go. I just saw it print below 8s. It did print 7s, but it did quickly reclaim 8s. So I want to see, number one, does that 8 level still hold? And number two, if we do break that 608 level, I'd like to see what we do at around 590 because that's the actual volume weighted average price. So it looks like we're getting a bit of a bid right now at that 650, zigging and zagging, 6.25 we go, but yeah, I don't know if I need to add here. I don't mind adding at a higher price, especially with how this one has shown you its propensity to kind of rock it up. Both rock it up and down. So keep an eye out on that one. I'm still involved in AMPX. AMPX rejected 4 again. We only got a couple of prints north of that 4 until 405. I'll submit to you that $4 is a key area of resistance on AMPX. We'll talk more about that when we get back from Midday at the big desk.
Breaking news for these social media stocks. Snap here, which had quite the descent from its highs, now up about 5.5%, trying to push higher. Meta also getting a bit of a bounce here too. Basically seeing reports that the Supreme Court has signaled that it's very likely to uphold the TikTok ban in the U.S. So in case you missed it, these stocks were on watch as we did have the Supreme Court hearing arguments on the ban. Seems like they're very likely to uphold the TikTok ban, which would be a great look for some of these other social media companies like META and SNAP. Keep an eye on Pinterest as well, PINS. Make sure to like and subscribe and vote in the poll, guys. Back to you.
Messy News Network saying, I'm waiting on 470. I was just about to write you a message. I personally wouldn't trade it at 470. I have a rule that I don't trade these small cap gappers long south of the volume weighted average price. So it's going to have to hold VWAP. Otherwise, I stop out and I let that one go and we'll look to do something else. So I'm going to set up some orders, possibly if this catches a bid. I'd like to be able to take advantage of that. So we're going to wait. Possibly we're at 34, so we definitely have to give something a little bit higher than that. So we'll wait like mid 40s or something for the first beak wetter there. Let's hang out there. I still like to get a print at 6, but for the moment, it's not printing me on that level. GLXG. So I want to talk about this one because I got stopped out for the remaining amount, and I'm kind of happy that I followed my rules with this one. So I gave back. Let me just call a spade a spade. I gave back my profits on this one, so I am technically negative on it, but here's the deal. This one, I tried to DCA into 55s because that was the 20 exponential moving average. I wanted to have the most advantageous price, but clearly it wasn't having me. So as soon as it broke down and closed below that 20 exponential, I got out of there. And the reason I used the 20 exponential this time around was because it was showing you its respect for the 20 exponential. And I made this point earlier on the way up. All the retracements came into that yellow line, which is a 20 on my chart, and held up. And they didn't do it this time, so I'm out of there. Now, I just saw that DATS went nuts over here. It popped up into that 640, like we didn't get printed. It went to 647s. I was waiting at 648 and quickly retraced. That concerns me over here because you clearly have someone shorting or taking profits at that 640, 650 level in a way that I didn't see before. So a little concerning right now, especially with the 5-minute candle that's forming on DATS. It's an inverse hammer candle, and that ain't good. Okay, but I don't want to put too much stock into one candle. I'd like to see what it does in and around 6, and then I will give it to around 590 because that's where the volume weighted average price. I'm talking about DATS, the best trade may be behind it here. We're going to have to find out shortly as it's getting awfully volatile here around 6, Joseph.
Finally, let's go, man. Get something working in our favor, my brother. Some TSLA as the market starts to climb a little bit higher and recover some of those losses from earlier in the session. Someone in the chat mentioned WBA starting to go and test those highs of day. Really good look, but I know the boys to the right of us mentioned like, okay, yeah, this is a nice move off the bottoms, but you've been selling essentially for 2 years. I mean, we'll take it by all means. 27% off of those lows. Is WBA starting to I don't know, impede in on those highs of days there? I don't know what I was trying to say, but yeah, starting to encroach on those highs of days. Sorry, is WBA now kind of hovering around those areas? Let's see if we can continue as the market starts to recover. This is extremely positive for it. So yeah, TSLA using the 2x leverage is starting to cover as well too, as the tech stocks are trading higher and higher. IBIT starting to trade higher as well too, now around 53 and 8s there on IBIT. Liking the looks here. Market really, really strong, starting to recover. As I said multiple times, so let's see how high we can go because it's starting to become a little bit greener of a session here, Sharif, for me.
All right, good, man. Oh, so DATS came into 6, so now we got the DCA at 6. It's going to have to hold up above 590 or we're going to get stopped out. Using smaller shares this time around over here because don't want to give back the profits. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to execute well on this trade. So for the moment, underline that, for the moment, we're defending VWAP, but who knows how long that lasts for. I put my stop below VWAP to give it a bit of a buffer, but, well, you know, when something's trading around 125 million shares, the chances of it wicking below and then retracing above are pretty good. So we'll wait and see whether that is the case here with DATS in and around that $6 area. Volume weighted average price is where we're trading right now. AMPX, another rejection at $4. But if I look at it a little bit more closely, what we're doing is we're incrementally putting in higher lows. I don't want to say it's a flat top because clearly we've broken through 4 on occasions, but we haven't been able to decidedly stay above $4. So I have good hopes for, I have good, expectations for this one because of the higher lows and the clear $4 resistance area. Just waiting for this one to either decide whether it's going to get the volume it requires to break and hold above 4 or whether we're going to whiffle and waffle sideways for the remainder of the day. Keeping an eye on any new small cap gappers. I'm seeing one here, DRCT. Oh, baby, this one's headed to the high side. So let's look at this one. I didn't have eyes on that until you guys started mentioning it there in the chat. DRCT. Let's load up this bad boy. So this is the weekly on it. Obviously, we're not looking for the weekly. This is the 5-minute chart. So 252 HOD on DRCT, and I just got stopped out of DATS as it did break below the volume weighted average price. So for reclaims, I'll get back in. Otherwise, we're going to let that one go. So DRCT, let's load up this bad boy here because this is a trade de novo. So the volume just started coming in at 1225 right now on DRCT. So it's a new trade. What is the headline? Nothing that I see from today. No, nothing from today. So what is it? $38 million market cap, 16.5 million shares traded with a float of 3 million shares. And let's find out what the short float is, DRCT. 6.5% says Trade Idea. So good data there on this one. So let's load it up over here. Get rid of DRCT, get rid of MSW. Keeping an eye on this one. How do we do this here? So wait for the breakout, or I'm going to wait for the dip trade at 2 1/3. That could be the move here. But it doesn't look like it's going to dip trade. This one looks awfully aggressive and looks like it wants to take out that $0.50. And here goes the $0.50, breaking above it into that 50s area, but not decisively, Joseph. A little bit. Let's keep an eye out on this one. We could DCA into this one because we're not that far away from that 10 exponential. This has been about live for about, I don't want to say the big volume has come in at around 12:30. I mean, it was moving before that. I'm going to get in here just so that I can participate with small share size. Here we go. Breaking into the 60s we go. We're going to set up some orders over here to see if anyone wants to zig and zag. Here we go. It's breaking down now. Great. Let's set up some orders here as well. Let's see if we can get that fill at 33s or what the situation is. Big topping tail candle coming in right now on the 1. The 10 exponential is at 233, which is exactly where I have my order. Printing low 40s right now. Let's see if this one wants to have that has continuity, or what the situation is. Anything below 220 and I'm gone. That is where we kind of rejected a few times. So if that level doesn't hold, can't really give it much more than that until the volume weighted average price is at 215. So decisions here to be made. Do I give it to 215 or the price action resistance, which I see at 220? So let's see exactly what the situation is with this one. We probably won't have to wait that long given how it's trading right now. Very aggressive movement up above the $0.50. And there we go, dipping down. I'm going to have to give this one. Let's go like that. Send it to you so I can put my stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff there. I just want to zoom out and take a look at the NVDA daily here, guys. And we mentioned this multiple times throughout these sessions, is that the engulfing candle on NVDA was massive, engulfing a massive range, a fairly large range, I should say, on the daily prints. So again, heading south of that engulfing pattern, and now going to lowers and run into some key support levels is NVDA. We're bouncing off them as well too here, guys. So as we can take a look at that 134 price level, then we have touched that multiple times and are now bouncing off of it. Let's see if we're going to break through this. The market is starting to recover, and we are running into some key resistance levels as well too, guys. So let's take a look. If this were to be reversed, we could call this a flat bottom, but this is more of a flat top, and the same thing is going on with IBIT, AAL, and some of the other tech stocks as well. So I think with this momentum, could it be just somewhat of a cover rally from the earlier selling in the sessions? Yeah, sure. But if it does decide that it wants to get squeezy, we're going to see that volume step in, and then we're going to break through. We're going to break through VWAP with momentum. But
Just
give him a second. Yeah, no problem. Let me know when it is time to do so. But guys, come on, we got 800 votes on the Playmaker poll. Hosan is back. What do you got going on there, my guy? On Meta. Who Meta $10 winner. I wonder who had Meta in their picks for top performing. But yeah, nice look there, Sean. $10 winner. Looks like he's grabbing the bottom off there. What are you in at? 609-ish?
Yeah, 609.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, beautiful stuff, guys. But we got an ad read. Let's see what Shreve's got for us.
All right, Hive Digital Technologies on the NASDAQ, HIVE, is pioneering the digital transformation through sustainable AI solutions and Bitcoin mining, a global leader in cutting-edge data center operations with over 2,700 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Hive consistently tops the industry in Bitcoin mined per and is redefining the future by powering the world's most transformative technologies with efficient, green, and clean energy. Learn more about following them at Hive Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com and sign up for the Hive newsletter for updates. Shout out to the good folks there at Hive Digital. Joseph, what do you got?
Yeah, well, Zero Gravity says, go me. Yeah, there you go. There are my 4 picks. I like that. I think that was funny. Got a chuckle out of that one. But yeah, let's take a look at IBIT here, guys, as we continue to move. And we're breaking through those resistance levels that I mentioned earlier, Sharif, with momentum. IBIT, And here we go. Is that volume really stepping in? I don't think so, but that's not necessarily anything to worry about right now because it is average. So I want to pull it up on these charts here. Maybe we'll get a better real-time look on this. So yeah, as we zoom in and go on those lower time frames, we are breaking through those resistance levels with momentum and the volume supporting that. So that is a really good look there on IBIT. I don't know how many times, again, we talk a lot about this, but I don't know how many times we're going to test those support levels without breaking through. Eventually, one party's going to lose and someone's going to overtake and win, whether it be the Bulls or the Bears. But eventually, just because we keep testing those levels so many times, I'm like, okay, we'll usually get 2-3 tests, but if there's been 4 or 5 tests, it's like, okay, what's got to give now? Are we just going to consolidate within this range, somewhat of an accumulation phase before we start to go higher? And I think if we fail to break and go into those those mid to low 80s, then I do think that we're going to head into that 1.25 price target, which, I mean, the demand and the inflows going into that BlackRock ETF have been absolutely outstanding. We know that a couple of weeks ago that they had record outflows, but other than that, about over 300 million of outflows in a session. But other than that, the inflows have been absolutely amazing. And you know, people don't want to sell their Bitcoin. They hodl. And you know what I'm going to do actually after I send it to you, Sharif, I'm going to I'm going to just type in, I'm not going to calculate myself, but I'm going to see what one IBIT share is equal to in actual Bitcoin, because I'm curious to see that. Yeah, so I'm going to do that right after I send it to Sharif. But guys, continue to let me know what you're looking at in the chat, and we'll go over it. DRCT. A lot of people are talking about DRCT. Let's take a look. Direct Digital Holdings. Okay, who are these guys? It's digital. It sounds like something of a crypto miner. So DRCT, Direct Digital. Okay, so sitting at a $33 million market cap, is a holding company that provides end-to-end programmatic advertising platform, primarily focused on providing advertising technology, data-driven campaign optimization, and other solutions intended for undiverse. Okay, I have no idea what half of that means, but here we are, Sharif, trading higher. Have you seen this? Have you been trading this thing? Oh, you're in? Okay, there you go. Take it over, my guy.
All right, so we're in at the $0.25. It's going to have to hold $2. So it's wicked below $2, reclaimed it super quick, very volatile. Almost got printed there at 230. It wicked into my level, but again, it's got a cross, right? So it's the spread here, which is not bad. Right now is 1 penny, but when it went up there, the spread opened up a little bit on DRCT. I gave you guys the details on this already, 3 million share float. Let's see if it continues. A bit of a higher low currently on the 5-minute candle, but at VWAP, so nor bullish nor bearish, kind of indifferent at the moment with the price action. DATS, I'm back into this one. We're long at 94s. Just took some profits there at 10s, waiting or looking for this one to hold the volume weighted average price. It's got 3 candles at VWAP, but it is looking a little bit weaker here. So I put my stop right below that 580 area. So we're going to risk 8 pennies on this bad boy. Or excuse me, we're going to risk 12 pennies on this bad boy as we're in at 94. So let's see exactly what DATS brings. Back to DRCT here, because we got not bad size on this one. But the thing is, again, it looks awfully indecisive at the moment. It's got a higher low, which is good, but we also are south of VWAP. And this one is moving like it definitely wants to kind of choose a direction, baby. I really don't know where this one is going at the moment. I feel a little bit more high risk of a trade, based on how this is trading at the moment. Just you kind of get a feel for these small cap gappers. DATS is breaking down, so I got to break out. I got to take that one out. So that's a bit of a loser there. Focusing now on DRCT. Looks like as if the seller initially that was at 20 has now moved down into the mid-teens. It looks like we're rejecting 16, 15. Well, okay, well that doesn't hold water because we just broke above that again. So getting higher lows on these 1-minute candles, also getting higher lows on the 5, but you're not getting any directional break one way or another. You could tell it's a tug of war right now between buyers and sellers, bulls and bears at this price level. We'll have to see which way it resolves. I'm a market observer, not a market mover, as most of you are. So we're going to have to watch and basically see exactly how the big money moves this. AMPX still involved in that. It's making another attempt at $4. Been packing my patience on this one. Don't want to move down my resting orders. We're waiting at 408 there. Joseph, what do you got?
Hey, good stuff there, my guys. Still holding on to some of this TSLA. starting to recover here. Let's pull this up. As Bitcoin starts to appreciate, it's really starting to squeeze now. Really nice stuff on Bitcoin. But let's see what Tesla's up to, guys. Now trading way above the volume-weighted average price. We're about to run into some of these key support or resistance levels. But Hosan is back. Would he $12 now? 11.50. All right, we'll keep it simple. 11.50. Sean is in some Meta, guys. We'll pull up Meta real quick as well, too, because we know what Zuck did not too long ago. I wonder how that's going to affect the platform. Some people in the chat were saying some funny things about Marketplace and what is now going to be on there. But again, really nice look here. Sean grabs the bottom right below the volume-weighted average price around that 609 level, continuing to move higher. I think at this pace, it's going to go and test the high a day. That volume on the 5-minute time frame is supporting this breakout and that test. And we haven't put in a red candle on the 5-minute chart since 12:15. So just under an hour of trading, and Meta is continuing to appreciate, dragging the overall market with it. Again, mentioned for the umpteenth time, Bitcoin continuing to trade higher as well too. But Meta, one of my picks after I switched up my top 3 picks, I went to Meta, and here we are trading extremely well. How do you think that this non-censorship in Meta is going to affect the platform? Do you think it can be positive, Sharif, or more of a negative thing? And we know what's going on with TikTok as well too, but apparently that is not going to be banned, so we'll be patient on that front. But the price action in Meta is being reflected of that, so good look there. But Bitcoin moving extremely well, continuing to squeeze higher and higher here, folks. Trading around that 54 and 35 cent range is IBIT, now breaking through those resistance levels, going to test those pre-market highs, moving really well. That volume is really, really stepping in here on those lower time frames, now reflecting in the higher time frames as well too, guys. On the 5-minute, we are starting to stair step higher in that volume. That is an absolute positive signal. Let's see what we got going on here. Are we going to go and test that 96K level on the encrypted one, Sharif?
All right, got stopped out of DRCT. This one broke down. Just had to get out of it. Broken down below $2. It's now below VWAP. It's below the 10 exponential. So leaving this one alone. It's not. It looks like it's going to be a V-shaped retracement or an upside down V, where it basically just moves off that $1.20, which is basically where the low was, where we hung out most of the morning, and then all the way up into that 261. And as quickly as we got there, as quickly as we give it back. So we'll take an L on this one. So we tried, it didn't work. So keep an eye on some new ones. I see a new one over here, SPI, halted to the upside. I'm going to be a little bit hesitant to chase the ones that are making the new moves midday, the ones that haven't traded in the pre-market, because these ones look like they're really algo-driven, being moved up to attract people in and then push everybody out of it. And that's kind of what I feel DRCT was, as well as some others. So keep an eye on this one. It's currently halted to the upside. It's halted at 105. And the details on this one are as follows. SPI. So, according to Trade Ideas, it's got a 24.25 million share float with a short float of 2.75%. What is the market cap? It's done about 7.5 million shares today. The RVOL on it about 8 times RVOL. Halted at 105 right now. I think we're 3 minutes deep into what could be a 5-minute halt. We'll keep an eye out on this one. SPI, are we going to Dara?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to take a look here at, before we get to crypto, we're going to talk about the market. So for one, I want to clarify that TikTok story. Actually, what happened is here, as reported by Forbes and spreading around here, the Supreme Court is likely to actually uphold the ban on TikTok. So to correct what was said earlier, it's not that TikTok will not be banned. In fact, it is very likely that TikTok will, in fact, be banned. I did bring this story a while ago, but just to clarify, that basically the reason it's a positive for Meta and Snapchat is because it's less competitors, right? So Forbes reporting that TikTok will likely to be banned. Supreme Court going to uphold this ban unless the company, or ByteDance, decides to divest ownership. So basically, they do not want ByteDance, which is a Chinese company, owning TikTok. If ByteDance chooses not to divest ownership, which does seem unlikely, then TikTok will in fact be banned, which is why it's a good look there for Meta and Snapchat. Another thing here too, keep an eye on SFIX. This is Stitch Fix. Amazon apparently is ending, as reported by The Information, Amazon is ending a service that allowed Prime members to order clothing, try it on, and decide if they wanted to keep it before being charged for the goods. So keep an eye on SFIX. Looks like that's basically bullish here for Stitch Fix because it gives them less competition. So Stitch Fix and all these social media stocks on watch. But so is Bitcoin. Because it's the end of the week, I wanted to look at the weekly chart on some of these crypto names. Bitcoin looks a lot more bullish in the weekly than it does in the daily, I have to tell you. This is a nice, really nice, rounded bottom, wider term here starting November 2021, kind of ending here March 2024. Then we make a bit of a cup and handle and we push higher. As of right now, kind of consolidating here, finding repeated support around that 91,000 level. So BTC in the weekly, I would say it looks infinitely better than BTC in the daily. Ethereum in the weekly is a bit more of a struggle. We have some continuous resistance around that 4,000 level, and we're a little less defined in terms of a trend than what we have with Bitcoin. Take a look at XRP as well, because that one certainly has been making moves. XRP, on the other hand, is just pure bullishness on this weekly chart. Great push off that 51 cent level, which was some previous support. Make a bit of a bull flag, come back here to that $2 level as of right now, hanging out around that 2.30. So interesting look there for XRP, which looks very bull flaggish. Definitely more bullish than Ethereum there. Also, make sure to check out TTV Research. Mentioned it earlier and previewed it, but we actually just posted our new graphic on the S&P 500 weighting, so make sure to give that a look. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. Excuse me. Guys, it's around, we're encroaching on that 1 p.m. hour. You know what time that usually means, guys. Time for the Playmaker poll. Let's get a couple more votes in. Then we're going to shut that down and then get the second half of the afternoon rundown going up there so you guys can vote for the tickers that you guys want to hear Sean and Neil talk about, also presented by my good friend there, Sharif. So yeah, Sharif, my guy, I know you just sat down, but I want to try to get this entry in as early as possible, and just because, yeah, of where we're sitting as well too. So let's document this trade, guys. We had a peak of $460, and now we gave a lot of that back. So let's see if we can recuperate that with today's trade. Sharif, entry price.
581.36.
581.36.
We're going to stop 581. We're going to stop out at 580.36.
580.36.
And we're going to take profits at 583.
583.36. Good stuff there, my guy. Much appreciated. 102 is our time of entry. We don't have that. Today is the 10th of January, 2025, 2024, I wrote there, and 100 shares, guys. And then next week, as promised, we are going to start to look at the options chain and options contract and mark it down from that point to see how using 0 DTE, that is, I think, to see how Theta can affect those contracts just in a mere hour, either positive or negative. But what do you got going on, guy? You see Bitcoin starting to rip a little bit?
I didn't know. I haven't been looking at the MEG. I haven't been looking at these larger caps. Just been keeping an eye on the small caps. I'm keeping an eye on DATS. It's been having a 3-candle hold up south of VWAP. So what I'm looking for here is for higher lows, not necessarily higher highs, but it's got to reclaim the volume weighted average price. Now the deal is with this one is VWAP is about 12 pennies currently, lower than $6. So just because you get above VWAP doesn't mean you're in the clear. You still have that whole dollar with which to contend, obviously an area of psychological resistance. And having a look at it previously, we did actually use it as price action, both support and resistance. So $6, still an operative level here, but the trend is still to the downside on DATS. It's been putting in lower highs and lower lows ever since that 740 bump and drop. Kind of a double top separated by that crest into $7. Here we go. It just made a new 5-minute candle. Is it a new high? Not quite. So the previous was 88. This one is 88. So they're both equal, the same price right now. 588 on both candles is the high. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. Is it still rejecting the volume weighted average price? CGBS, shout out to you, Pretty Panda. You called this one earlier, and I told you I had no interest in it because it was south of VWAP. It just reclaimed VWAP, and by extension of that, it has now above $1. VWAP, 98 pennies. It's going into 102. It's got a high of the day of 115. It's not above VWAP by all that much. So I don't really want to use VWAP as an area support off which to get in, say get in $1 or whatever, and then put your stop at 98 pennies. It's not that far away from it yet. So keep your eye on CGBS here as it's reclaimed that VWAP level, and it could be playable right now. AMPX does another rejection at $4. And now what I'm seeing is lower highs. And now you're kind of seeing, I want to say higher lows as well, but the higher lows look a lot weaker than the lower highs. So Now, that's the bad side of the things. The good side is it hasn't even touched VWAP yet. The last time AMPX touched VWAP was 10.05. It's gotten awfully close. Every time it's been a little bit higher than the previous attempt. So getting a little bit distant from it right now. 388, exactly where we got in here on AMPX, looking to go. Okay, DATS just wicked above $6 and then dropped right back down. So this is a specialist breakout where they get you in, kind of like a bull trap. Sometimes they get you in and then push the price right back down. So I want to see exactly what the situation is here by watching this a little bit more. The trend still hasn't changed. If you look at the area crests and troughs, we're still lower highs and lower lows, despite the fact that we've had 3 green candles now on DATS, but they've been anemic, especially when you compare them to the red candles that pushed us down. So not much in the way of for me right now in terms of any trades. I don't like anything, whether small caps or whatever. I'm keeping my eye on the scanner that I have on my top screen to see if anything's making moves, but not really anything at the moment. Shout out to Mohammed, STI. I kind of was looking at STI earlier. Let me have a look at it for you right now, see what this one is up to. All right. Oh, it's a good looker. Thank you for letting me know about this one because I wouldn't have known about it because it's 62 pennies and I filter everything south of 85. So let's throw in the ticker there. I likely won't trade it until it does get to that buck, but I can definitely comment on it for you. The first area that I like it for a pullback is this 58.5, 58 penny area. You have a long resistance area there. This is the 5-minute chart. So you essentially rejected that 58, 59 penny area from 10.15 all the way till 11.10. So almost an hour worth of rejections. You drop back down. You do breach VWAP, but you're able to reclaim it real quick. And this is the big boy breakout supported by volume above that 58, 59 penny area. Have a look at the amount of volume that we got there. So 63 pennies technically right now, the HOD. But yeah, it's going to either have to come into a key area of support for me to kind of advise you, or otherwise I wouldn't punch long at these highs right now. I don't even know what the headline is. There's no headline. And I'm concerned about these ones with no headline, right? Because you feel like the algos are pushing them up to drag people in because then they show up on your scanner only to have them V-shape retrace. Case in point, DRCT. You get big boy volume and a big move up, and then you have a V-shaped or an upside down, a Christmas tree retracement, as my man Randy likes to call it, all the way back down. And I got caught in that one. I won't get caught in it again. So DRC, I thought Randy might have been here. I want to bring him on.
Bring him, because
of the new Model Y.
Yeah, he could have built it with us there.
Yeah, well, I want to see what he thought, right?
I like it. I like the light bar that you mentioned before.
Can I say something to you though?
Yeah.
I like the light bar.
Yeah.
Everything is, but I don't know how you feel about this. Doesn't it feel like a 1990, 1980s Buick?
Well,
with that light bar at the back? Well, bro, you don't have to be bored to know what they look like.
But
there are no pictures of the 80s.
Yeah, but I don't think so.
No,
I mean, I think it looks pretty cool. I like how they're switching that up. I like I like the vehicle. We can zoom in there. All right, cool.
Okay.
So, I mean, that light bar is really nice in my opinion. So on the back as well too. So I mean, but doesn't that work? Isn't that how things work sometimes? We kind of, as we move forward in time, the things from the past start trending.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it's like, exactly. This cyclical aspect of fashion. So, I mean, I was looking at some of Michael Jackson's like attire. You know, when he has like the black dress pants with the hiked up white socks under it, and I'm like, well, I like that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, maybe we bring that back, but I highly doubt that. But Katina, man, oh, see, there you go. Meta is starting to break higher there.
Was that you that hit the cash cow?
Yeah,
what's
hit the
going
cash
on over there?
I hit the $15. Hit the money cup the dollar club. 15 times. But hey, man, I'm curious on what we're gonna do for tracking these picks that we have for 2025, because I have Meta here, and sure enough, we're starting to move significantly higher. Let's zoom out here, guys, on Meta. PLTR. Hold on, we're gonna wait on Meta here, because we do know we have that catalyst on it, but PLTR is starting to move higher as well too, folks. Kind of dragging the overall market up as well with it. Diamond Hands, you're still in how much percentage, from a percentage metric, how much do you have left in Meta? 10%? All right, but that's still, you passed through the highs of day now, so Katina Man holding on about 10% of his meta position, so really nice trade through the highs there from our guy to the right. But here's PLTR, still negative on the session, recovering really well with the rest of the tech stocks as Tesla is starting to zoom higher as well too, guys. So the market is starting to break out. These heavy Meg 7 Sharif are starting to catch a flame up under them. So here we are starting to squeeze in the markets.
I like it. People yelling about GameStop. Let's load up GameStop and see what is afoot there or what's meowing over there. Let's have a look. Let's see over here. What do we got? Okay. We're technically still 1 1/5 negative on the day, but that's a hell of a recovery off that 31 and change. We're breaking through 32.70 right now, about to go positive right now on GameStop, 32 3/4. It's a bit spready. It's about a 9-penny spread right now. 63s on the bid, 72 on the ask. GME headed to the high side. Let's have a look. Any catalyst for this one today? Not much. Not much at all. So let's load up GameStop on the 5-minute chart and have a look. See what it looks like on the day. So it's a nice recovery there. We're still south of that 32.97, 32.96, give or take. That was where we closed out on the previous trading day. We had basically nothing done there on the previous trading day. Very range bound. You had outsized movement on the 7th, but the 8th was pretty much dead. We didn't do anything there. With respect to the first area of resistance on GameStop, I'd say definitely that 32.97, 33 essentially, which was the closing print on the 8th. But a good recovery. I'm just really not sure what my move is to trade it. 32.70 seems to be like a possible earlier market top there in the early morning hours with very light volume, so I'm hesitant to use that as a resistance level. Yeah, but GameStop down 1%, no news catalyst on for it, but we'll keep an eye out for it. CGBS, Pretty Panda, has got 3 candles now above the volume weighted average price, so not a bad look here. It's using that 98-penny area as a defend. But it's having trouble with a buck. And that's what I don't like sometimes about having VWAP and the whole dollar awfully close to one another. You get kind of caught in a bit of a range as the whole dollar pushes you down and VWAP keeps you up. We'll see which way this resolves, but it hasn't been the greatest day for these small cap gappers in terms of continuity. They've had great initial moves up and then we retrace aggressively to the downside. So you're not getting that continuity. Case in point, DATS whiffled and waffled a little bit here at the volume weighted average price. Now it's breaking down well below 6 on the way to 5 1/4. There is price action support here at the 5 1/4 owing to that area crest that we put in from 10.25 all the way to 10.55 when we finally took out that level. I'm not going to get into it because it is south of VWAP, so I'll have to let this one retrace back above 6 for me to get involved, but there is possible support in and around this area. Keeping my eye on some of the other small cap gappers we've had an eye on, and really nothing's moving. I'm going to have to wait to see if this CGBS wants to hold above VWAP and then, continue on its merry way above a buck. If it does that, we'll have an area to say, okay, you know what? If it breaks below this, we'll get out. To me, that's going to be, for currently right now, about 96 pennies or so. If I was to get in, that would be the area where I put my stop. Shout out to Calmandu.
Dang.
$5 super chat, no comment, but thank you for the super chat. We also have your man ADL, Adam DeLuce, dropping £2 in the chat, dropping cash for my guys. Congrats, Sean, on Meta, says Adam. Good for, shout out to Adam, appreciate that. I'm sure the Katina Man sending his love your way. I'm keeping an eye on Hoth as well, as this one's working back into that 215 area. 215 is VWAP. Had a good move up, HOTH, right at the beginning. Then it gave back the entire ghost. We kept Hoth on the side chart because we had a trade on it back on, I believe, it was the 6th or 7th. No, neither day. Which day did I trade? Oh, it was the 8th. Yes, it was this. It was this day. The day that I came back was a Wednesday. So the 8th, yeah, we had a big move up on Hoth, went from red to green, and it's a bit of an inside day today with higher lows and lower highs on Hoth. So not doing much there, Joseph. What do you got?
Thanks, brother. Just holding on to this TSLA position. It was an abomination of a session earlier, but now starting to recover are these tech stocks. So looking good as of now. But yeah, pulling back pretty aggressively. rightfully so. That volume on the higher time frame, or I guess mid time frames, did start to step in, and now we're kind of pulling back on Tesla and the overall market. I thought that we were close to our price target on the SPY, but not quite yet. Still about $1.15 until we hit that 2-to-1. So hopefully we catch a big recovery on that, much needed. But yeah, I mean, guys, continue to let us know what you're looking at in the chat. Tesla's starting to pull in as well too, guys. IBIT, looking for an ABCD on this after that momentum, but as of right now, it doesn't seem to be the case. Starting to pull back as well too, still up about 1.78% on the session. So let's see how deep this pullback is. If we breach 5420s, then I'll get out of the position, then reassess the situation, and see what we can do. If we can continue in this momentum, then we'll be looking to participate on that front. But yeah, you got the super chats. Sharif, good look there, brother. If you guys have anything that you want to look at specifically, please let me know. But PLTR starting to trade significantly well, recovering with the rest of the market. Let's take a look at this thing from a daily perspective. I know a lot of people want to get involved in this name because it was the top performer in the NAS as it was added a little bit late. But again, really, really nice year put in from PLTR with Alex Karp and company, putting in this kind of head and shoulders pattern on the daily, gapping down, and now in some key support levels. Something that was now resistance is now acting as support. So let's see how far from a percentage metric we are off those all-time highs on PLTR, 23%, a little bit of a hefty pullback, but we know in this thing's earlier days that it would get extremely volatile. So showing that as we appreciate in price, that volatility is going to step in and those pullbacks might be a little deeper than anticipated. So just be prepared for that. Slowly starting to recover, trading around 67.25 right now on the session, putting in a pretty good day thus far. Let's see what else we got going on from a tech standpoint. AMD, yeah, we haven't really talked about AMD overly too much. I know a lot of people an individual was talking about buying some August calls on this thing. You know my thesis and where I stand on AMD. I don't think it's time just yet. I don't think it's time just yet to get involved in it. Sorry, what was that?
I love your nickname for it.
Oh, advance money? Yeah, well, it's Sean. Well, it was Sean. We were all chilling in the back, and then he was doing the evening show, and then it was their earnings report, and they absolutely tanked, and then he just read it from the chat, and it stuck. So yeah, everybody caught a laugh from that one. So yeah, it was Sean who had that, but he's like, I don't even remember saying it. So yeah, but we were calling it ever since their previous earnings report, and yeah, living up to its name, and nothing short of it. There is advanced money destroyer. Not time to acquire just yet as the market is pulling back. So that little sign of strength might just be somewhat of a liquidity grab as we are starting to pull back. I need to see that volume step in and that momentum to continue in order to want to participate in the overall markets around the volume weighted average price. Are we going to get that right now? I don't know. Don't forget, it is Friday. So the volume does tend to dwindle off sometimes in the later hours of the session. So we are in the latter half of the day. People just calling it, mailing it in, ready for the weekend because we know we had Jimmy Carter and the week before was New Year's. So people probably just want to get a nice rest and relaxation weekend in.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the future right now because that VWAP area is really interesting on the NQ March contract. We've gotten into VWAP before, only to reject. So this is an interesting area over here. Here is the look at the NQ. You had an initial rejection right at 9:30. We're at the open. You get into VWAP, you reject. We did it again at 10:45. We got above it. Rejected again. This is kind of the most amount of time I'd say we've spent above VWAP, but who knows? Let's see if this one wants to drop back down again. We're printing 21.046 or so back into that 21.060. It's still above VWAP. It's not giving up the ghost. Has this current candle though, the 5-minute chart, it's got a lower high and a lower low, but not really directionally changing all that much despite the chart pattern right now on the future. So keep your eye on that. Joseph's point very well taken there on the future. The reason I'm looking at futures because not much is happening here with these small cap gappers. So I got to look for something. I've been looking to see what else is moving. RBLX, interesting area here on Roblox. Got an upgrade today from the boys over at JP Morgan. It just got back into break even, so hit a low of 60, back into 62.05. This is the closing print from the last trading day, so there could be resistance right here, right where we're looking right now, but it's a good recovery. This is uninterrupted to the high side here on Roblox since 12:20 till now, an hour of just only green candles on the 5-minute on Roblox, despite the fact that it's still negative. Well, because the market's kind of, the market's doing its thing. 62.05 on Roblox, exactly the break-even point from the previous day. No print higher than it. Let's see if it's able to stay above that level or whether it retraces right back down. The market still above VWAP. Keeping my eye on the NQ to see what situation is. It's a 3-candle hold up, 4-candle. We just opened up another candle right now on the 5 above the volume weighted average price on the future. So don't be too quick to short that. Otherwise, you could find yourself in some trouble, baby. Keep an eye on GameStop as well. Since you guys called that, it's off the high at 32.70. Back into the 50 penny area we go. Keep an eye on that one, despite the fact that it's well negative on the day. DRCT, definitely not trading that one. Still involved in AMPX, as this one hasn't broken down below VWAP, but DRCT, sorry, not DRCT, DATS, not going to trade it at this level because it's at below the, it's below the volume weighted average price. But it just put in a hammer candle there, kind of a bottoming tail candle, showing that buyers were picking this up aggressively off that $5 area, but you still don't have a change in trend. You still have lower highs and lower lows. There's really nothing that's changed since we put in that top at 750. So big move down for DRCT. Don't put too much stock into one candle. Have it prove to you that it's going to move back to the high side, and you haven't seen any sort of change in trend on that one yet. CGBS, though, could be going here, Pretty Panda. This one is moving to the high side and holding the volume weighted average price finally. This one looking like it might want to stay above $1 and above VWAP. So CGBS up 40%. Kind of a, undecided whether it wants to be a dollar stock or a sub-dollar stock right now. If you were to get in here, say 104, you could risk about 97, 96 pennies, so less than 10 pennies worth of risk on CGBS. It's working its way higher, but I've seen this story before where it breaks VWAP only to retrace right back down in short order. So let's load it up since it's the only one that's actually doing anything on at the moment, CGBS. Assuming this is on the NQ, it is, yes. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. I could be persuaded to have some dip orders into that 101 area. Looks like there was a lot of selling at that 101 initially. So let's see if that wants to act as support at that level. Let's throw in the order there. I'm just going to sit at 101 and see if we can get filled in and around there. I should probably move that up to 101.5, but because, yeah, we might not get printed there unless we cross. So I threw in an order for CGBS. Let's see if it defends that buck area. And holds up above VWAP. So that's the only thing that I've got on at the moment. Nothing else for me doing. Keeping an eye on the mag, since really there's nothing a whole lot in small cap gapper world. Looks like as if, let's have a look at the mag. Let's analyze these a little bit. See what's afoot. So again, Fuchs above VWAP right now, so that's a good look. You've also got NVIDIA above VWAP. Likewise with Tesla, they're both well off the highs. Apple getting a lot of selling at 237 right now, even though it is above VWAP. Now, I'll submit to you guys that there is a key area of technical support for Apple at 237. That was the area where we kept rejecting umpteen amount of times. Let's throw that on there. Those are pivot points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they completely distort the chart. That's why I throw them off. So this is the initial. This was the initial high that we got into in mid-July. That was a 237 bump. We got there several times as well in the early fall in October, rejecting 237s, always making a higher low. And here we are right back at that 237 level on AAPL. Does it hold? Do we get a retracement above 237 on the day? So far, it's an ugly looking candle, right? And I mean, you could say, great, well, we're definitely off the lows of 233, but this is not a good looking candle. Let's call a spade a spade. It's going to have to retrace a lot higher, maybe into that 241, 242 for it to look like a hammer candle. So AAPL 237 support on the daily. We're at 237 right now. We'll see how we close up the day, Joseph.
Yeah, good stuff there. Yeah, Wow was right, Sean. How many now? How much you got left? Same 10%. You're still holding diamond hands. Hit the diamond hands one more time, my guy. Hit the diamond hands one more time. There we are. Call him the Diamond Man. Yeah, but good luck there. Yeah, get it, Katina, man. Get it. Everybody who's been holding on to those and had faith. But I think what's dragging the market up, we're only a couple cents away now, Sharif, from hitting that 2-to-1 on the Playmaker poll. Here we go. Are we going to hit it just yet? Oh, no, why you got to do us like that? But here goes Microsoft, guys, trading significantly higher, dragging the market up. I wonder if there's any news, and bang, there we go. We just hit the price target on the Playmaker poll, 2-to-1. Nice recovery from on that front, guys. But there's something I want to ask you, and please, don't spam the chat just yet. I'm curious to see what the overall sentiment is and what everybody has. But I want you guys, if you're listening, please put in the chat either which phone you have, iPhone or Samsung, okay? What do you guys have, iPhone or a Samsung? You can put that in the chat. I'm curious to see what the dominant phone is. I think the majority of the people here have iPhones with a couple outliers, but I'm curious to see what you guys have, either an iPhone or a Samsung. So just write in the chat, iPhone or Samsung, and there we go. Samsung is the winner. iPhone, let's see what you guys got here. iPhone, Samsung. iPhone, Samsung, here we go. And let's see, oh, Samsung. Oh, what a wave in the Samsung. Okay, wow, what a domination there, Sharif. There you go. That's how you get the people going to see which phone is better. And I'm glad this is the exact result that I was looking for on this one. So yeah, I'm glad we had a little bit of fun here on this Friday, because that was the objective of the iPhone or Samsung goal. Absolutely, there, my guy. Sir. Yeah.
All right, I like that.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, we're involved now.
Someone said Pixel. Let's go. All right.
Yeah, Brendel's got the Pixel. The Pixel's getting a lot better, bro.
Okay, this is what I was thinking. Shower thought. Google in itself is kind of like a whole tech ETF within that company. Like you got Willow, you got Waymo, you got Gemini, YouTube. Like why would you not want to own this company that has its hands in so many different spaces? Okay, guys, it's over. We see. Yeah, there we go.
No, but we're getting trolled now. The Palm Trio. What was that, like 2 decades ago?
What?
The Palm.
The Palm.
You know
Yeah,
the Palm Pilot?
I think so. Yeah, I know about the Palm
Oh,
Pilot.
man, the Palm Pilot takes me back.
Oh, okay, now we got a poll up here. Even better. Choose your fighter. Here we go. iPhone and, oh, wow, Samsung with pure domination this far.
Really?
Good one. Way to put that poll up there, guys. Really like that one. So, yeah, chime in. Oh, okay, iPhone taking the lead there. But, guys, hold on. Let's do this here real quick before we send it back to Sharif. We're going to document this, guys, because we hit that price target, something that we wanted to do and we haven't done for some time. So there we go. We'll call it 125. We hit that price target of that 2-to-1. And this is going to be a nice recovery for us here, guys. So 583, 36. Moving. We went long once again. Not surprising. W of 200 shares. So guys, yeah, continue to, if you guys are documenting like this as well too, so let us know, because I think that's good. So 231 is now. There we go, nice bounce off the lows. Like the overall market here, guys, just really reflecting how the SPY is looking, but a nice bounce in the P&L curve, starting to head back to those highs. Brother, what are you cooking up?
Yeah, man, we're involved in CGBS. Let's see how this one wants to run as well. Good look there. Let's let that one cook. I'm also involved in the MNQ right now to the long side. Let's see if this one wants to go. We're at 20 points. How many? We're about 10 points, 12 points in the money now. Let's see. Yeah, because I'm down on the day, so I have to figure out something to get a little bit out down on the day, if you know what I mean. So we're moving up on here. Good look. There it is. Bang. Okay. Not too bad. Let's see if that one wants to continue going over here. 50 points incoming. That's where the 200 exponential on the 5 is right now. It's at about 21,167. We're printing 30s. Obviously, we have that 50-point level with which to contend. There is resistance, though, at the 30-point level and the 25 to 30-point level. And the reason I say that is it's over here. This was the area crest that we put in above the volume weighted average price that we didn't spend too much time in front of. And there it is. So we're encountering resistance at this level over here. Unsurprised by that, because it is a negative day, and these areas of resistance looking like they're going to be in play on the day. We'll see if we can continue moving up here on the MNQ. Let's have a look at CGBS. We're involved in that one as well. Okay, we got the print there at 4s, waiting now at 8s. So the reason I'm involved in CGBS, because it cleared VWAP. It's using the buck, it looks like, as support. As well as the VWAP, or the volume weighted average price, which is awfully close to that dollar level. So it's kind of sometimes good when they overlap, sometimes not so much. So keeping an eye on this one. Probably should set up some more orders. What's up, Joe? Why are you giggling, bro?
I'm laughing because Katina Man wrote in the chat, and I told him my acronym MEAT, man.
MEAT.
Meta. Yeah, exactly. Meta, Android,
got it. Yeah.
Apple, and Tesla.
Good
Let's
day,
go, yeah. Oh, sorry, did you send it off to me there? Or
No, yeah, I can keep going.
Continue.
Yeah.
No,
So
continue. That was
CGBS looks like there's a seller at 5 over here. Keeping an eye on this one. This one's making a good move up with higher highs and higher lows, but it's just having a lot of trouble with this 5-penny area. So I'm layering my orders. Let's see if we can get something at 6 here on CGBS. Good breakout. Keep your eye out, though, for that $1.15 if we are to get into that $1.15, because there's a whole bunch of resistance there. So packing my patience. Let's see if we can get something to the high side on this bad boy. Let's see what else the future's up to, because we got out of that one. Let's see what the situation is. It's still moving. It's not giving it up right now. There's a candle of indecision that printed on the 5-minute at 12:25 Central. And here we go. We're about to make a newer low there. So could this be the end of the move here for the future? We'll have to wait and see. We're down below 21.1 again. So I guess maybe 21.1 acting. Well, we know the 100-point levels are areas of support and resistance on the future. Do we get a 21.050 bump, though? That's VWAP. It's a 50-point level. We'll have to wait and see. It's a bit of an ugly 2-candle setup at the moment with this doji candle, obviously a candle of indecision or a reversal candle, depending on where it appears. And then here we go with the new candle on the 5-minute chart to make a newer low and a lower high. So that's not a good look. Let's wait possibly for VWAP, see if VWAP wants to act as support on the way down. Otherwise, we could be headed right back down again. We'll have to wait and see. The future definitely volatile today with NFPs, non-farm payrolls, in case you're just joining us, coming in. It feels like COVID all over again, where, inflation is an issue and good numbers are going to act as bad again, just like we had in 21 and 22. I don't know, though, and I kind of spoke about this on the desk a little bit earlier. I feel it's a little different this time in the sense that the inflation is not going to be supply chain issues related, and it's not going to be because the government's sending out stimmies. Growth will be organic this time around if we do have inflation. It'll be driven by increase in productivity, by economic growth, by a higher GDP, and that GDP that is not supported primarily by government spending, because we're not sending people stimmies anymore. So I don't know. I feel this time around, even if we do get inflation, it's the inflation that should come with economic growth. Because if you get economic growth, by default, you do get inflation. As people have more money, more buying power, they tend to spend it. And when they spend it, it's more money chasing fewer goods, aka, the key definition of inflation. So I don't know. I see it a little bit differently this time. Obviously, the market reacting to the news, like in the way that we saw in 22 when inflation was a big problem. So we'll have to wait and see how this all pans out. But yeah, very, very interesting area.
I agree with you on that front, just kind of that aspect of good news being bad news once again. But how long will the street perceive it as that? Until things start to flip around. I mean, we can't argue that the American economy is robust and strong and healthy. So I don't really know what there is too much to worry about it. But I think one thing, Sharif, just to add, is that we were pricing in a couple more cuts that may be coming in the near future. So maybe that is being priced out of the market right now. Because one thing, too, that I wanted to add is that we know with heightened interest rates, it isn't always the best for the smaller caps. So you can see that reflected in the IWM as well, too. So as the street perceives less cuts and predicts less cuts, we might see a little bit more of these. I think we will see the smaller caps affected by this more than what we would see from these growth stocks. But yeah, that's just my sense. But I agree with you on that front. I don't know how long that's going to last, because what are you going to? I don't understand why there's anything really much to complain about or whine about when the economy is as healthy as it is, especially the American.
It is, but hey, let's bring in a different perspective here. Stock trader, bringing up a really good point. Inflation from growth and not from tariffs. Interesting. Great point, brother. I think that there is definitely a case to be made for that because we know what companies are going to do. They encounter tariffs on the imports. They're going to pass it off to the consumer. They're not going to absorb it and have it fundamentally affect their P&L. So I absolutely agree with you. What I want to see, though, is in the face of tariffs, do companies renegotiate all their input costs with all their suppliers, which I'm assuming are coming from overseas. Otherwise, they don't encounter tariffs. In addition to that, do they adjust where they get their inputs from? So what do I mean? If you were buying something specifically from China, are you then now looking at it from an American perspective? Are you looking to buy it American? If you do that, the likelihood is your input costs will go up because we know China is obviously cheaper. So there is so many different questions here. You bring up a fantastic point, though. We'll talk more about that when we get back from Madeira.
Be aware here on Meta and Snapchat, there's this interesting headline here coming from the Financial Times. Apparently, TikTok is warning that it could, quote, go dark. This comes, of course, as we do have indications that the Supreme Court is likely to uphold the TikTok ban. So unless ByteDance decides to divest TikTok, it will be banned as of January 19th. Seems like the Supreme Court's going to be upholding this ban. TikTok warning that it will go dark, though it's unclear exactly what that means. Keep an eye on these social media names and also keep an eye on Eli Lilly. It is worth noting here, as this one kind of heads into a bit of a flat top break, we have a report here from also Financial Times suggesting that the company's in advanced talks to buy Scorpion Therapeutics. Scorpion Therapeutics is a private company, so that is not tradable here on this catalyst, but LLY actually trying to break that 795 level, guys. Back to you.
What do you got, Joseph?
Yeah, I was just reading a comment from Ryan Faye. I don't know if you've seen that in the chat, Sharif, but yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, you can message us and maybe we can kind of give you some pointers, but again, stop losses and risk mitigation is extremely important in trading, especially if you want to have any form of longevity. So yeah, here we go. E-Signal ad read, guys. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Foresee profitable opportunities with the platform you need. Infinite data, instant trading, know where the market is moving before others with lightning fast data. Charts that change the game. Customize and analyze markets faster your way. Better backtesting and scanning. Predict the future by understanding the past. Reliable real-time data up to the second market info from hundreds of global markets. Everything you need all in one place. Don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. Dang. There you go.
Yes, sir. Looking at UBX for Tisha. I don't know, Tisha. This seems a little bit light on volume. Let's have a look at it on the chart over here. UBX. Okay. What do we got for volume on this? It's 451,000 on a $1 name. This is just not going to cut it, Tisha.
Zuck on Rogan?
Apparently, people are saying that in the chat. We'll have to find out. Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. I'd like to see what he has to say. So $1.80 HOD right now on UBX. It's up a respectable 32%, Tisha, on UBX, but definitely not to my liking with respect to how much volume it's doing on the day. I'm going to have to respectfully decline to trade this one. But hey, yeah, it's a fantastic move back on the 6th. It had a bigger move up. Not sure what the volume was that day. Yeah, I was doing light volume then as well. I mean, each of these 5-minute candles has about 20 or 30,000 shares of volume, so that's really not the look there. So I'll keep my eye out for it. If it has more volume, definitely interested in that. The futures continuing to head to the high side, and the market in general is moving up. Really, the only laggard you could kind of say right now is NVIDIA. It's really not moving up as aggressively as some of these other names. It seems like it has a seller for whatever reason on NVIDIA at $137, at 137 bucks. Many different wicks into this 136 and 3/4, maybe 136.5 now that I look at it on NVIDIA. So it's not participating to the high side like some of these other names. You've got the Amazon moving up, Microsoft moving closer to the high day, likewise with Google, Tesla a little bit as well. A little bit anemic there. Apple above VWAP. It really is the meta story right now, though, up almost 3% on the back of the TikTok tailwind, as I used to call it, back in 2023 when I was involved in this name. And the thing is, though, guys, you know, the judges, they like to kind of hide how they think. Okay, and they're not really going to tip their hand. So they're going to ask you questions that make you feel one way, and then they may be thinking another way. And they do that to play devil's advocate. They want to see if you've studied your case that well. If you've never watched an appellate court trial, it's very different than an actual first instance trial where there's a jury, there's cross-examination. An appellate court trial is judges grilling the lawyers who are there to answer their questions and to present their case. That's kind of how an appellate court works there. And the judges, they get to be much more inquisitorial in an appellate case than they can be in a regular trial, because then they look like they're interfering with the trial because it's an adversarial system, right? So it's really interesting to see how this all going to pan out. We don't have to wait that long, though. We're going to find out likely before the 19th. 19th is the deadline. What I'd like to see, though, is if Donald Trump doesn't agree with the ban, does he actually take action if the Supreme Court holds up the legislation with the ban? So it's going to be interesting to see from that regard.
One thing I was going to say about Donald is if this current administration didn't want to ban it, he would just want to ban it, I think. That's just my opinion, right? He does the inverse. But yeah, you're not wrong on that front. Only time will tell.
I don't think he wants to ban it. He's made it clear.
I in my opinion, I think he would just do the opposite just because they want to ban it. Now he doesn't want to ban it. Yeah. If they didn't want to, he would
100% agree with you.
100% you know what I mean?
Yeah, he doesn't like to go with
exactly.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to ask you, because I don't have TikTok or anything, but what is it that TikTok can offer that Snapchat and Instagram Reels and all these things can't offer? You know what I mean? What is it?
TikTok?
Yeah, what is
the algorithm just blows Reels away, bro. And
I wouldn't know. I don't have.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's why I'm just kind of. Yeah. It's a lot better. That's just been my experience. You go on Reels, it's just stuff that I'm not interested in. No matter how many times I click not interested or try to watch certain things, it just doesn't get it.
Okay, I see
TikTok seems to get it a bit more. Whether they've solved the algorithm problem or something else, I really don't know, Joseph. But the fact of the matter is, like 99% of the good videos I get are either from X or TikTok.
Okay.
Not from Meta.
Well, they don't need to fix it now because there's next only going to be
we'll have to wait and see.
So.
And the thing is, like, I had some notes on this earlier. I'll pull it up in a little bit, but there's a bunch of different caveats to this legislation. You won't be able to download or update the app, but you're going to have access to the app, right? So the app won't be able to be taken off your phones, but it won't be downloadable from the App Store, from Google Play. Do they still call it Google Play? Or Google App Store, whatever it is. So. I haven't had an Android in a hot minute. So you won't be able to download it. You won't be able to update it, but they won't be able to remove it from your phone. The interesting part is, do the creators just disappear overnight? Because there is an umpteen amount of creators that are on this platform every day churning out content. Where do they go? What do they do?
I mean, you can call it
probably go to another platform.
Yeah, exactly, right? So you can call it a mass exodus from TikTok, but then that has to funnel into some other platforms because a lot of we know what the West Coast is like with kind of social media and everything. So these people aren't just going to give up their income just like that just because TikTok is gone. They're going to have to funnel to something else, and then that's why you see the beneficiaries like Meta and Snapchat starting to.
And I also get concerned too about. National security issues are definitely something that have to be respected, okay? 100%. But the concentration of power and the concentration of social media into the hands of Meta, let's be real, bro. It's either going to be X or Meta, right? Because Snapchat's kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to be Elon and Zuck, and those are going to be a duopoly. Right? So it's going to be really interesting to see how they do with that.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Let's see what the chat's saying with respect to this issue. Let's go in here, have a look. Current administrator, okay, all right, that's fine. DMS, TikTok is way better. TikTok, Chinese data mining bad, says Rob Winter. Respect that. And you're probably not wrong. No, he gets votes from TikTok. I'm assuming because Donald Trump wants to keep it legal. The algo on TikTok is way better. It gives you exactly what you like, says Bill Love. Shout out to you. Fat Figure says it's the algorithm. I agree. Rogelio Concepcion agreeing with AC. I didn't get to see what. All right. I like that. The algo is super addictive, says Kevin.
Yeah,
I completely agree with that.
I think that's the thing. Everybody's saying the algo.
Doom scrolling.
Yeah, it's doom scrolling. So yeah, the algorithm is better. But what does that do? That just makes you more glued to your phone. right? So, and then what are you doing that? Now you're charging more data on your phone. So yeah,
And they're making more money on the ads.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
so
kind of the way it is there. Let's see what else people are talking about. What's this?
Why do you keep
passed
asking
it. Big
that?
note is that Meta would have a monopoly. Essentially, well, I wouldn't go so far as to say monopoly, right? Because X is really moving up in terms of popularity. I know that the user metrics on X has really been booming, especially after the election. I'll keep an eye out on that. YouTube Shorts, says Peter Ransom. I've been on Shorts, man. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them. Let's see what else people are saying over here. Soon, Gen AI will produce all memes, says El Sol. Don't I know? The bigger are also an opportunity to blow up as a ransom creator on TikTok is bigger. Interesting. I didn't know that, actually. I knew that the TikTok what do they call it? The creator fund. A lot of people were complaining about that. It's like this fund that pays out the creators something consistent, so they don't have to base it on views. Fact check me on that chat. Tisha Perkins yelling about RLAY. Let's have a look at RLAY. I haven't had eyes on that one. Let's load that bad boy up. RLAY. What do we got here, Tisha? Oh boy.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the problem with these ones, Tisha. You know, they show up quick. I think these are algo pumps to get you to see them on the scanner, and then they move them quick back down. So this thing it opened up at 482, traded essentially in the 450s, 460s all day. It gets a pump all the way to 599, and then bang, down we go again. So a bit of a tougher look there, Tisha. Yeah, I've been experiencing that with these small cap gappers as well. They kind of make their way onto the scanner, and then they kind of disappear super, super quick there. So keep your eye out on those. What's your look there, my man?
Yeah, just looking at these tech stocks, man, with Meta continuing to trade higher, we're only about 1% or so off those all-time highs, Sharif. And I think at this pace, I don't know if we're going to touch it by the end of the day, but if we continue on this trajectory, I think that it is absolutely possible. Up 3% on the session and only down about 1 and a bit off of those all-time highs is Meta, when the market has been off those, we have been trading off those all-time highs, about 5 or 6% off the all-time highs in the Qs and the SPY as well too, guys. So Meta leading the way, continue to appreciate in price. This thing is strong, dragging everything up with it, as well as Google too. So let's take a look at Google, because again, I just mentioned, it's like, man, this thing is like an ETF in its own, essentially. Get just like tech this, tech that, whatever you want, they got it. And sure enough, we're not too far off the all-time highs on Google as well too, guys. Let's see from a percentage metric what we're exactly sitting at, about 3.3% off those all-time highs. I think in order for us to continue to climb higher and rebound slightly more off of the FOMC, we need these boys to participate. So sure enough, Google and Meta leading the way on that front. The closest out of the Mag 7 to those all-time highs. Let's take a look at Apple as well too and see what we got going on. Oh wow, okay, I really like this, Sharif.
What happened?
I really, really like this print so far on the daily on Apple. Yeah, so
it's at 237.
Yeah,
so it's going to hold initially, but it could give way.
If we close as a hammer here, though, I'm gonna look for a long, and we're gonna we're gonna look for leverage, because we have sold significantly off of that 259. I mentioned inflows and all the cash on the sidelines coming into the ETFs, and Apple being in a large number of those ETFs and being the beneficiary of that. But we are now pulling back on that front, so trading around 237 to be exact. So I think if this closes as a hammer, then we're going to look to take advantage of that on a larger scale. So just be a little bit patient. Wait for that daily print to close. Bitcoin still coming off of those all-time highs. Let's take a look at IBIT here and see what we got going on. Had the inability to hold or sustain that momentum to the top side. I still think that we head south and go into those mid-80s until proven otherwise. If we move, if we continually move in this path, then I just have to accept that maybe the market doesn't want it to go any lower than what it's sitting at right now, that being the support sitting around $92,000. But one thing that I was grinning before we started talking about, I guess, ByteDance and kind of the social media aspect, was I was looking at the options chain, January 15th, 2027, so that's 2 years on the expiration cycle. We have an implied at-the-money implied volatility of 67%, but the contracts that I were looking at, those at-the-monies, have now come down in price, and that's something that I was looking for. So if I were to buy this at-the-money call right now, expiring January 5th, 2027, it's going to cost me $22.45. I like the price of that. So in options, I guess not in options terms, but in equities terms, are real money. That's $2,245 for that contract. I really like to look at that. It is slightly appealing for my style. I don't know. I don't want to grab it too early, but if we continue to hold those levels, as I mentioned before, and numerous amounts of times, then I'm going to look to participate because I think we can appreciate to that 1.25 price target on Bitcoin. I know a lot of analysts have that 180, low 200s for Bitcoin. So I want to join that, and I want to be able to take advantage of that to the fullest amount. But other than that, just going to sit in this Tesla still here, my guy, and see what we got going on for the last 10 minutes of the session.
All right, we got to go to Adara, but we got some stuff when we get back.
Quickly here, I just want to let you guys know we have yet another graphic out here from Trader TV Research just made this afternoon. We just talked about here our S&P 500 graphic. We now have our Dow 30 waiting, so all 30 tickers here in the Dow. These 15 here, basically the first 15, and the remaining 15 make up 27% of the weighting. So that basically means that 3/4 of the weighting of this index is just 15 of the 30 tickers. So weighting is huge. I was pretty surprised to see Goldman Sachs is the top weighted ticker in the Dow. That was pretty shocking. Apple here is number 14. NVIDIA is 22. And then Sherwin-Williams, which was just added to the index in November along with NVIDIA, is number 5 weighted. So there's a lot of really shocking stuff here. This graphic will be posted on X at TTV Research. Make sure to check it out, guys. Back to you.
From RC. Trump will make TikTok, will keep TikTok so he can make Canada the 51st. Come on, bro. Come on, that's not happening.
Is it getting old, no? The 51st state thing?
Yeah, I think people take a little too sensitive about it, but that's okay. Kyle Burdett, my spidey sense is tingling. Oh, are you looking to the bear side there, Big Pile? Let me know what you're looking at there. We're making higher highs on the NQ, so we're still going, guys. Most of the Mag 7s are, for the exception really of NVIDIA, are making higher highs and higher lows. Let's see what else everybody's talking about there in the chat. Yeah, the position board is down, guys. We're sorry about that. We'll keep an eye out on it. And the best production team, well, there you go. That was super quick. CGBS, let's keep an eye out on that. It's still zigging and zagging. We got a bunch of outs here on CGBS. Wasn't able to get that 108 out, though. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. What else we got? Meta kills, okay. All right. I did see the Zuck. He is on, it looks like, yeah, he certainly is on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan posted,
He's a fighter now, that's why.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's, they're them together there. There we go. And then, obviously, I don't know who this dog is, but Joe Rogan felt the need to take a picture with this dog. Maybe he's Zuck's dog?
Zuck's dog.
He's got glasses on. That's okay. So Mark Zuckerberg, obviously on. I'm going to definitely have to give that a listen, as I did with the Elon one as well. Let's see what else everybody's talking about there in the chat. DATS, people asking about DATS. Okay, is it moving back up? No, still below the volume weighted average price. DATS certainly having problems breaking above VWAP. It had problems breaking above it over here when we were initially broke below it, 1250, and it's continuing to have that same problem now as we get closer to that 2 o'clock hour. So unless this one reclaims that $6 area and trades above VWAP, I personally wouldn't trade it. It looks like as if, you know, kind of a little bit of range bound right now, 5.25 to about 575, 580 to the high side there. Amazon looks good, says, I think, you told me your name before because I can't pronounce your name, but didn't he say it was like John or something like that?
Yeah, he said John is easier.
John, okay, so shout out to John.
Yeah, it's significantly easier than
it is.
Ever.
Let's have a look at Amazon. Yeah, Amazon's coming in above 220 right now, trying to break and hold above $220. Good clearing of the $10 level, and by extension of that, the whole dollar level, still well below that 221.71 HOD. We'll keep an eye out for that one. So not bad. Not bad. Good recovery on the day. We'll keep an eye out, Joseph, see how much more we can recover.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone in the chat said bye-bye Delta Airlines here. We are going to head below that, or head towards some key support levels here, potentially with that flat bottom break here, Sharif, on DAL, but we're up significantly. At one point, we're up over 12% on the session with DAL, but with a strong forward outlook for Delta Airlines. So putting in that strength for this company is really well. We know we like strong guidance and outlooks, so that will help with the stock's appreciation. So a high consumer demand as well too for travel and luxury travel with Delta Airlines. So yeah, it's a really good look there. Really strong opening drives here. Let me pull it up one more minute because we had a really strong 5-minute opening drive here supporting this. And then for the 5-minute orb traders, really nice look. Putting in a high of about $69 flat and then rejecting that and then now chopping around in these areas. With the inability to regain momentum, again, Friday, almost 2 o'clock, sure enough, you'll see that volume start to dwindle and no real crazy volatility. I don't think is going to step in, but we do have some strong catalysts with Meta and Snapchat moving higher, especially with that TikTok ban potentially being implemented too. So yeah, I heard Sharif, we were talking about like, yeah, you can't update the phone and you can't download or anything, but I also heard that the cell phone providers, like when you're on the app, you'd get no signal or something along those lines. I think I would fact check me on that, but yeah, it's just going to be inability. You're not going to have the ability to use the app if it does get banned. So yeah, there it is, guys. Download Snapchat.
No, that's not accurate.
No, it's not accurate. No,
it's you will be able to use the app.
Oh, okay.
You just won't be able to download or update the app. They can't take it off your phone.
Oh, okay. Well, no, it's not that they're going to take it off your phone. It's just that now you can't
servers.
Use, the servers.
Well, the servers they can just move overseas. They don't have to be with Oracle anymore.
Oh, okay.
Right. So then, if you want to ban it, then you can use it through a VPN,
okay, so
like they do in China.
Okay. So at what point do you think the app will stop working if you can't update it all the time? So
that's
maybe,
the thing, right? Then you just get to the point where it's not compatible with the OS or whatever ends up happening there. And you may have a political solution before that, you may not, right? I saw some dude in the chat there, I'm not sure his name, basically saying X, the user data or the stats on X are inflated, so that Elon apparently is kind of making it up, juicing the data, so to speak, which is interesting because this person in the chat seems to know more than the advertisers who are actually putting their own money on the line and getting pay per click. So I guess this guy knows more than the actual users and the actual people who are paying money, which I find to be a little bit funny. But that's interesting there. Anyway, let's keep an eye out on the market because the market continuing to head to the high side. It looks like we're going to hold that 21,100 area as we're moving on into 2150. We do have resistance over here at 21.2. That's just not because it was a 200-point area, but we did actually reject that area initially after we dropped on the NFP numbers, recovered, got back into 21.2, rejected 21.2. About 4 minutes left on the show. Hope everybody voted. I know we had a couple of different polls today because one of the ones got interrupted, but hopefully we'll be able to amalgamate them together and have a great rundown for you guys with the big kahunas. Let's have a last look over here at some of the small cap gapper trades that were in AMPX. We're essentially break even on this one with one more out, nothing doing there. We'll also keep an eye out for CGBS. This one's holding VWAP, so I haven't gotten out of this one yet, even though we're about 2 pennies out of the money. If it gives up VWAP on a closing basis, I'll get out of that. DRCT also below the volume weighted average price. DATS, all the good small cap gappers are all really below VWAP right now. Let's look at SPI. SPI is really the only one trading above that level, so we'll keep an eye out on that if you're into these small cap gapper trades. SPI looking good over here, just printed close to the high day at $1.10 all the way to $1.13 initially, but unlike some of the other ones, this one's really not giving back most of the profits or the gains, I should say. So keep your eye on SPI, could be an interesting one going into the afternoon. Joseph.
Yes, good look there, guys. Yeah, we're coming into the close of the show. We're gonna send it off to Sean and Neil in a couple of moments, guys. But if you have any last tickers or stocks that you want us to look at, throw it in the chat real quick and we'll do our best with the time that we have to go over those and see what you guys are looking at as well too and analyze. If you have any potential options trades or strategies coming up for next week expiry, then let me know as well too. Curious to see what you guys are looking at. I've been a little cool on that front, waiting for those opportunities I mentioned. Now that we're stepping up here in the VIX, so that volatility is kicking in. So it's about time to start writing some options if we seem to start cooling down as we start to appreciate. So let's take a look at the VIX because as the market starts to appreciate in price, I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm sure enough that the VIX has started to cool down. And there you go. I didn't even see it. I didn't look at it since we last talked about it. So here it is. Here's that inverse correlation between stock appreciation, market appreciation, and the fear index. So there we go. As we appreciate and break out here, Shreve, you can see that the VIX is starting to cool off. So the buyers of puts or the sellers of calls on that looking like they're on the right side of the trade. So there you go. There's the VIX, folks. Yeah, let's see what we got going on. Soundhound, yeah, okay, I see Soundhound on there. I'm going to pick two. PLTR, Soundhound, and yeah, that's it. So let's go over those two here real quick.
Yes, sir.
PLTR, before we send it off street for the last minute, PLTR still on that ascent here, guys. Ooh. So really good look there on PLTR. Let's zoom out real quick. Boom. Nice recovery off the bottom. So let's see if these support systems hold. And Soundhound, we know this stock was trending for a significant amount of time here. Here we go. Same identical pattern here on a lot of these tickers. Aggressive selling, now putting in these indecisions at lows. Going to be looking to take a play off that. Let's zoom in here on Soundhound. Let's see how that daily print finishes. That might be a bounce candle. And sure enough, here we are trading at above the volume weighted average price from an intraday perspective. A lot of candles overlapping here. Not something that you would want to be participating in. A little bit of a stressor on that front, especially when you have SPY, Qs, Meta, Tesla, Microsoft, all these names really putting in these strong recoveries. iBit as well too. My guy, what do you got?
That's it, sir. I think it is 2 o'clock, so we're going to send you over to the big kahunas. And we will see you shortly. I'll see you shortly at the green screen. Joseph and I will be back on Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. Take it over, boys.
Hey, am I on mute?
Hey, just make sure that the mic is unmuted. As sometimes 2 o'clock like creeps up on you and think you're like locked and loaded. I was just checking out the awesome thumbnail we have for the afternoon show.
Yes.